Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Tales of Telduria. Today is the first episode for Group B, so hooray, clap, clap, clap. And the reason why I am starting an hour early today is because, just like the last time, I have to read out the entirety of this fat, wonderful lore document. Hooray. So give me just a second to make sure that I have everything that I need. Alright. Now I am ready to go. Hopefully I don't put anyone to sleep over the next hour-ish. Alright. World Geography, Telduria Part 1. Telduria is both the name of this world, as well as the name of the main governing country. I will return to the latter, as the former is what I will talk about in this section. Telduria's center was filled with thick, temperate forests that swirled out in a perfect spiral. Though this isn't the case anymore, only stopping at the foot of a ring of mountains that blocked paths to the north, south, and east. This spiral of trees ended in the west simply due to the presence of an ocean. The large, now mostly uninhabited center of Telduria is called the Ashen Wastes. The small strip of land that runs between the Western Ocean and the Ashen Wastes is still heavily forested due to the abundance of entangling rivers and spotted lakes. Teldurians call this strip of land the Fanglands. This is the home of most of the druids that exist throughout the world of Telduria. Although many did travel and many more were born outside of this area still remains a hotspot for druidic activity. To the north is a pair of isthmuses. One leads directly north and the other leads northeast. Both, however, lead to lands blanketed in snow all year round. These areas are sparsely explored by current cartographers, and as such, most civilians can only guess as to what exists in the snowy realm of the unknown north. West of this area is a large, uninhabited island that has never been explored by the current denizens of Telduria. To the east of the Ashen Wastes is a short, curled peninsula that closely resembles an octopus's tentacle. Citizens call this area the Erland Peninsula, after one of the family lines that ruled this small area before being integrated into another kingdom. The Erland Peninsula is most renowned for its city of Ironstead, which is home to the prestigious Bardic College. To the east of the Erland Peninsula, across the sea, is a small island called Ethel. This island was recently brought into the Republic of Telduria as a territory through peaceful political means as a protectorate. The island of Ethel and its people hold access to rare material and rare magical incantations, and the people are more than willing to trade these items for something of equivalent value. Unfortunately, due to the lack of more basic materials on this land, like common metals, Ethel does not have a strong enough military presence to protect its treasures. As such, the Republic of Telduria offered the island militaristic protection and funding in return for reduced trade prices on those rare materials. To the southeast of the Ashen Wastes is a bulb of land called the Verns Forest. That's just as forested as the Fanglands that was once ruled by a small kingdom of powerful elvish mages. The kingdom has since been dismantled, but the artifacts and magical remnants of its power still exist throughout these forests. High Rock, the kingdom's old capital, has now been mostly converted into a large, interactive museum, while the rest of the city has been converted into an impressive laboratory whose singular purpose is to discover new scientific, technological, and magical discoveries. Far off to the east of Vern's Forest, trekking across the ocean, exists a small island chain that loops into a perfect circle. These islands are called the Isle of the Ancients, due to the fact that two ancient dragons rule this area. Uteron, a powerful and ferocious fire dragon, rules the northern half of the chain, continuously growing and recycling his islands through the volcanic activity he commands. Ephamor, often called the White Lady, rules the southern half of the island chain, expanding her throne with her icy breath. The two of these dragons have been at odds with each other for as long as time can remember. Directly south of the Ashen Wastes is the heart of the Republic of Telduria. This land is a triangular-shaped peninsula with its point being due south. The reason why the heart of the Republic of Telduria exists here is because both its capital, Tarantus, and its largest trading port, Dragonport, exist in the same peninsula, divided from each other only by a string of mountains that splits the peninsula in two. This peninsula is called the Teldurian Peninsula, obviously. Far off to the west of the Teldurian Peninsula exists a large island, surrounded by several smaller islands. This area is home to another ruling party called the Aquan Society, though some individuals will still occasionally refer to them as the Sea Lords. This area and its people will be given their own section later in this document. Finally, due south of the Teldurian Peninsula is a large island that bears home to the Kalnorian Province, the third and final political empire that exists in this world. This kingdom, just like the Aquan Society, will be given its own section later on in this document. World History, Telduria Part 2. Telduria's history starts with the collective boredom of several powerful deities, now known as the Old Gods. Telduria was crafted by them, molded randomly, and then filled with the vast majority of the world's current inhabitants, excluding half-breeds. The sole intent was to make these inhabitants worship them individually, and then war against opposing religious sects. Admittedly, this did entertain them for a long while. However, like all things, it did eventually bore them. Soon they introduced more strife and division. They taught these inhabitants the rudimentary basics of science, technology, and magic, and then told them lies about royal lineages, kingdoms, and ancient birthright. Now, not only were religious sects vying to destroy each other, but now groups of people would form countries, kingdoms, and provinces to build power for their rulers. The old gods were pleased with the discord and endless brutality, but it didn't take long for them to grow bored once more. In their boredom, they, once again, fiddled about with new ideas to entertain themselves. This time around, they wanted more religious discord, to bring in the very fabric of duality and dichotomy. With these ideas in mind, they created 7 lesser deities, who are now called the New Gods, and divided the land in half. One half to worship these new gods, and the other to worship these old gods. These new gods were made to be completely antithetical to their masters, to believe, think, act, and speak in a radical new way. These new conditions brought much joy and entertainment to the old gods, but it was incredibly short-lived. The new gods, with their opposing way of thought to their masters, realized the depravity and selfishness of their masters' ways. Within a few years, they had amassed an army and declared war on their creators. This war lasted for decades before finally coming to a close. The new gods banished the old gods to a completely different realm of existence and locked them away forever. Then, immediately after the deed was done, they spent the next several years rounding up as many worshippers of the old gods as possible and destroying them. They took particular care in destroying or burying any kind of knowledge or reference to the old gods, under the intent to prevent another religious war between the old gods and the new gods. With that knowledge effectively cast out of the minds of all of Telduria's inhabitants, So with it went the knowledge in how to bring back the old gods. Teldurian history, the Republic of Telduria. The history of the Republic of Telduria starts with a man named Terran and the goddess Ione, whom he worshipped. It had been almost a millennia since the new gods effectively remade the world under their ideals, but discord still existed all throughout. Minor factions, blossoming kingdoms, and various mercenary factions were still violently competing with each other for domination over the mainlands of Telduria, and Ione, being the leading goddess amongst the new gods, was greatly displeased. She tasked herself into finding a champion, and a champion she found in Terran. Terran started his conquest in the Teldurian Peninsula, founding the city of Tarantus as his capital. After claiming the entire eastern coast of the peninsula under his banner, he aimed his armies west to take the city of Dragonport from the neighboring kingdom, the Confederate States of the Darkane, before moving north and forcefully integrating the dotted tribes of giants that made up the nation of Amonville into his monarchy. It was at this point that the Crow King, the leader of Nyre, and the Kingdom of Vern joined forces in an attempt to quell Terran's aggressive advances into their territory. These two kingdoms controlled the last pieces of land within the mainland of Telduria. However, their plight was all for naught. Terran and his massive army crushed both Nyre and the Kingdom of Vern in a single blow. Within the span of 2 decades, Terran had conquered nearly 80% of the known world. There were only several island chains that were scattered along the edges of the mainland left. However, before he could ever set sail to accomplish the goal of his goddess's quest, he was assassinated. Terran was killed in his sleep, and the kingdom he built almost immediately began to fall apart with near endless wave of civil wars and uprisings. 60 years and 4 separate monarchical rulers later, they tried their best to keep Terran's kingdom intact, some more successful than others. It wasn't until a man named Croesus stepped to the throne and then immediately dismantled it. In its place, he brought together the leaders and faces of every single minor faction on the kingdom's heel and brought everything to a compromise. A republic, where the government was made of a small council of individuals, all elected officials brought into power by the public. Finally, after an exasperating 70 years of relentless civil wars and rebellions, the Kingdom of Terra was reformed into the Republic of Telduria, with Croesus at the helm leading his country into a new era. For the next century, this persisted, with only a single large change to its governing policy. The single council of individuals is no longer the single governing entity of the Republic. In fact, 2 more branches of office were created. The first acted more or less as the figurehead of the whole mainland, and their main job was to contest and balance out the power of the council's lawmaking power. The second branch, created, focused entirely on the judicial, whose main job was to enforce the laws as best they could. Between these 3 branches of power, they all contested and balanced each other out, making sure that neither had too much power over the other, and never had too much power over their citizens. Sea Lord history, the Aquan Society. The Aquan Society, the whole island it encompasses, as well as the dotted island chains nearby, is constantly beaten by the sea. As a result, all of its inhabitants have evolved and adapted into an amphibious lifestyle, subsequently building the majority of their cities either along the coast, with many being built atop the sea itself. Currently, the Aquan Society is a relatively free-form anarcho-capitalist society with a small government to hold everything together, led by a singular figurehead known publicly as the Oracle. However, there is still a long history to go through before the Aquan Society came to this conclusion. Its history starts with the abundant warrior tribes that dotted the coasts of the island, constantly and perpetually at war with each other over land, resources, and breeding rights. Microcosms of power shifted rapidly between neighbors, and tribes rarely ever held power over others for long. either due to their subjugated successfully wrestling out of their control or other tribes intervening due to a complex web of alliances. This persisted for untold generations until a woman named Grail Ardwall came into contact with one of the few remaining pieces of the old god's power, a puzzle box. After years of study and much trial and error, she managed to unlock the puzzle box and was gifted two distinct powers. The first of perfect clairvoyance, the ability to read the future. The second of agelessness. It came at a cost, however. Although she no longer aged, her lifespan would be cut drastically short. She could also not pass on this power except through her own bloodline, forever cursing her kin to share the same short-lived fate as she. Finally, although she could read the future with perfect clarity, she could not turn off the visions, and they often interfered with her day-to-day life. She also found that the future would rapidly change depending on the information she told others, rendering much of her fortune-telling utterly useless. Regardless, with this newfound power, she traveled to each and every single one of the tribes across the island and pleaded with them, constantly showing off their powers, telling the dark future of their endless bloodshed. Eventually, through the formation of an unbreakable webbing of alliances between each and every single tribe that made up the island, Grail achieved her dream of a united society. Through her guidance, they built a small but stable government whose main job was to act judicially and to enforce the few rules the lands had. A small list of unalienable rights, led by the mantra of, "To the victor go the spoils," that allowed the warrior pride of the individual citizen to challenge another to their property in honorable combat, provided they met the requirements. Grail, in her last years, acted as the figurehead of the government in the Aquan society, and helped solidify the unspoken inner functions of her nation. When she died, the whole island went into mourning before her daughter, Isabel, converted their sorrow into productivity in building a city in her mother's honor. When it was completed, they named it Ardwall. Now, after several dozen generations, the Aquan society remains largely unchanged, other than the figurehead. The current oracle is a woman named Laura Jet, and her daughter Yzma is soon to be next in line. Kelnorian history, the Kelnorian province. Kelnor's history is violent and full of change, and it all stems from an extreme view on war on the island. Much like the Aquan society, Kelnorians believe in a strong honor code when it comes to battle, but Kelnorians do take this a step further. They fully believe that only the strong should lead, and that the only way to achieve such a position is through force. As a result, the majority of Kelnorian history is simply a perpetual war after perpetual war. The first major steps that were taken to stop the endless wars that ravaged Kelnor were done by a man named Yondu, who, armed with a mythical axe, forced the whole island to kneel under his strength. As soon as he controlled the entirety of the island, he made the citizens build a capital city, and as soon as that was completed, he named the city the capital of his empire, to which he then promptly named the city, the island, and the empire after himself. The Yondu Empire lasted for 20 years, until Yondu was finally bested in battle by his longest-standing rival, Triant. Immediately, the Empire Island and capital were named after this upstanding rival. Triant held this power until his death, but never named a successor, despite having 17 children. The resulting War of Succession nearly fractured the empire, and it was only saved when Marcus Triant slaughtered his 16 other brothers and sisters and secured himself the throne. The next change to the empire came soon after. Marcus Triant signed a few documents into law disallowing any ruler of the empire to willingly pass away without determining a successor to the throne, though how they go about choosing a successor is entirely their discretion. The Shriant family stayed in power for 3 generations before finally being removed from power by the Uluru family. As such, the empire, the island, and the capital were all renamed to match this new family name. The Uluru family opened up trade negotiations with the Ottoman Society and the Republic of Telduria, and happily integrated a large portion of these newfound cultures into their own. Much to the surprise of the rest of Telduria, the Ulurians made highly effective, shrewd merchants, and it didn't take long for the Uluru Empire to become an economic powerhouse. Soon, however, their newfound wealth eventually became a problem with the rest of the world when it was discovered that the Uluru Kingdom was pouring the majority of their newfound wealth into ballooning their military. Such a show of power forced the Ottoman Society and the Republic of Telduria into multiple non-aggression treaties with the Uluru Empire out of fear for a potential massive war. The last and most recent time the crown changed hands is when the Kelnor family usurped the Uluru family during the Teldurian Civil War. As per the norm, the capital, island, and empire were renamed after its new rulers, and almost immediately afterwards, the Kelnorian Empire turned near exclusively isolationist, only retaining the most basic of trade agreements with the other 2 political powers. After this decision, not much about Kelnor was exposed to the world, and the majority of the history books on the subject stop here. Teldurian History Part 2: Hohenheim and the Civil War. Hohenheim was a man who, after losing his loved one to sickness, had lost faith in all of the new gods. In his depression, he turned his attention to the Ottoman Society. The oracle of the era was known for freely reading and telling people their future, often going out of their way to personally fix the unhappiness of those who came to her. He told her of his situation and asked for salvation, and to learn the truth of the gods to help restore his faith in them. She told him that he would find his salvations high in the snowy mountains of the unknown north. Within months, Hohenheim had found a small collection of religious texts pertaining not to the new gods, but to the old gods. Text infused with their very being and power, and far beyond the scope of the new gods that they could ever hope to destroy. Hohenheim was racked with an avalanche of rage and hatred. He had discovered the truth, but in doing so, he had discovered a millennial-long lie. The new gods had given the people of Telduria. He began to preach the text that he had found and converted many to his side. Within a year, Hohenheim converted nearly 1/3 of the mainland's population into the resurgence of worship of the old gods. At first, the Republic of Telduria had no qualms with this, for they practiced and preached a general sense of freedom of religion. Although Hohenheim's messages were a tad troubling, the general populace, simply due to religious differences, it wasn't until Hohenheim made a demonstration of the old god's power in the city of Dragonport, a cultic ritual of human sacrifice. That incident nearly destroyed the entirety of Dragonport as, for a brief moment, a portal opened and briefly connected their world with the realm in which the old gods were banished. Although the incident only lasted a few seconds, it was enough to spark the Republic of Telduria to invoke military action against Hohenheim and his followers. Unbeknownst to them, however, Hohenheim had anticipated that reaction and had secretly trained his followers in warfare. The Republic of Telduria was then cast into the throes of a civil war. This war lasted for 30 years, only ending when the then-present Oracle used her clairvoyance to contact Ioni, leader of the new gods. In exchange for the Oracle's life, Ioni would punish Hohenheim's cultists and eradicate his army. As soon as the deal was struck, a meteor fell from the heavens and crushed Hohenheim and his army, converting most of the northern area of the Republic of Telduria into a desert wasteland, now dubbed the Ashen Wastes. Rebuilding after the war was difficult. but 2 monuments were put in place at the southern edge of the Ashen Wastes. 2 towers, 1 silver, 1 gold, and each stretched up to the clouds, and each would serve as watchtowers for any and all survivors of Hohenheim's army. The gold tower represents the line of paladins that worship Eonin, while the silver tower represents the clerics. Teldurian History Part 3: The Rise of the Daiquiri Pirates. The Daiquiri Pirates are a recent addition to the history of Telduria, having formed roughly a decade after the end of the Teldurian Civil War. These pirates started their expansion in the seas surrounding Kelnor, stealing civilian ships and raiding small, unarmed supply boats. Eventually, after amassing enough resources, they grew bolder and began to sack cargo ships and trade routes. It didn't take long for both the Auckland Society and the Republic of Telduria to bolster their merchants with armed escorts, but their efforts were in vain. The Daiquiri pirates grew far too powerful, often commandeering the very warships sent to destroy them, and soon began to take far more drastic measures to grow their empire, taking prisoners and opening up the now-known slave trade that circulates the continents. Many attribute their rise to power to the lack of intervention from the Kelnorian Empire. Their king, despite being in control of the world's strongest navy, outright refused to make moves against the pirates to quell their expansion. Due to the Kelnorian king's inactivity, both the Auckland Society and the Republic of Telduria have cut off all trade routes to Kelnor. Both kingdoms thought this would be enough to force the empire into action, but the King of Kelnor responded by cutting off all remaining political ties with both kingdoms. Not much is known about the pirates themselves either. What is known, however, are the 3 individuals who lead the Daiquiri pirates, as well as their chain of command. Their third in command is a woman named Melinda Visk, a Lamia with near-prophetic psychic power. Insider information insinuates that Melinda is in charge of training all the new recruits who join the pirate organization. Above her is a man named Kimbridge Louse, often referred to as Vile Louse. He is a short ratling with a metal peggle. His role in the Daiquiri pirates is the torturer, the man who keeps the underlings in line, as well as breaking in the captives before they are sold to the slave market. Not much is known about him. His name brings fear to the grunts who work under him due to his extreme sadistic nature and his love for torture. Finally, the man in charge is named Kane Thackeray, a towering hound archon who often personally leads his crew on expeditions of plundering, raiding, and slave capturing. Those under him revere him for his strength, but nonetheless fear his wrath. There are many oral accounts detailing events of Kane Thackeray single-handedly sinking massive warships under his own might. Religious history, the New Gods, and the Ysens. As mentioned before, the New Gods are not the original rulers of the plane of Telduria. They overthrew their original creators and crowned themselves the new rulers of the plane of Telduria. Soon after this victory, they did what they could to reshape the world in their new image. Much like the old gods, which will be discussed in their own section in this document, these gods have champions. However, these champions serve a much different purpose than the champions of the old gods. These champions serve as a physical embodiment of what the respective new god represents, rather than to be some tool to open and close a special door. Even the lesser deities, the Ysens, have champions that further represent the elements in which they protect. The first new god that people worship is Kotmez the Hopeful, a spry, rambunctious child constantly carrying endless drapes of colored silk. Most depictions of Kotmez have him playing, singing, or attempting to inspire the essence of happiness in others. The history books depicting the war between the old and the new gods cite Kotmez's endless devotion to what is right as a source of inspiration to his fellow kinsmen, giving them waves of morale to continue fighting in the face of hopelessness. The next new god that people worship is Reliqua. the Giver. A cloaked, soft-spoken woman who watches over the dead and dying. Most depictions of her have her holding the world against her chest, staring straight ahead with a motherly gaze. The history books show her not fighting in the war, but comforting fallen soldiers so that they felt that their dying breath was not in vain. The next new god that people worship is Ekthar, the Unbroken, a stocky fellow who spoke few words, believing his actions would instead speak for him. Most depictions have him standing tall, eyes forward in sheer defiance as he clutches the blade of his weapon in bloody palms. The history books state that Ekthar was a wall, a man of unbreakable spirit, and the only one to hold firm at the start of the war when all hope seemed lost. It is said that his undying courage in the face of inevitable defeat was what initially caused the new gods to continue their endeavor to free the plane of Telduria from the clutches of the old gods. The next new god that people worship is Tyther, the Patient, a silent and stoic man often referred to as the Perfect Hermit. He is always depicted floating cross-legged, meditating calmly while fire rages around him. The history books state that Tyther was the strategist of the new gods in their war, and most of their important victories were attributed to his patient and thorough thinking. The next new god that people worship is Avida, the Teacher, a soothing, caring figure who values knowledge and wisdom above all else. She is usually depicted as a woman with her eyes closed, a warm smile on her face, and an open book in her hands. The history books explain that she was the reason the new gods amassed an army as large as they did in their fight against the old gods. It was she who taught the denizens of Telduria the old gods injustice, the one who taught them the difference between right and wrong, moral and immoral. The next new god that people worship is Nihir the Champion, a tall, muscular man who is a pillar of strength and a harbinger of justice. He is often depicted with 4 arms. 2 arms hold imposing weapons, 1 holds a scale, and the last is an open palm. The history books state that Nihir is the physically strongest god, claiming that he had slain the most foes in battle. Finally, the last, and the most important, new god that people worship is Ioni, the Enlightened Leader. A tall, graceful creature too beautiful for any mere mortal to describe. She's always depicted as armless, with her chest carved out. Inside her chest is a depiction of the entire plane of Telduria, protected perfectly within her being. The history books state that it was through her leadership and devotion to the creation of a new world that gave rise to the overthrow of the old gods. The Yissens, as they are called, are a small collection of 4 lesser deities. These 4 deities were created by Ioni as she was reshaping the world in the image of the new gods, and their purpose was to keep balance within nature itself. They are Listen of the flames, Nissen of the winds, Missen of the sea, and Yissen of the earth, each one assigned to a specific element to create, maintain, and protect. Religious History Part 2, The Old Gods and Their Keys. As mentioned before, the old gods were the origin of the plane of Telduria, and their callous reign was ultimately their undoing. Upon the discovery of their lost tomes, the old gods set Hohenheim on a course to bring their existence back to the realm of Telduria. As such, they commanded him to break apart his followers into sects, and commanded these sects to worship them individually, just as their worshippers did millennia ago. From there, they were given detailed instructions on how to select the most devoted of each sect and to convert them into the old god's chosen few, to convert them into champions, walking manifestations of their individual power. However, these champions held a secondary purpose, to act as a means to an end. During the Civil War, Hohenheim managed to construct 7 gateways that connected the realm of Telduria to the realm of the banished gods. However, to open these portals, they needed the presence of a powerful devotee. As a result, these champions were often called keys, as they were the only way to open these portals. to act like a key to a doorway, hence the name. The first of these old gods is Oset, a massive, towering eldritch creature that moved on a series of tentacles that could consume and dissolve anything they touched. Old textbooks depict many stories that show him as an uncontrollable hoarder, an insatiable collector of any kind of item, from mountains of specific human tissues to spoiled and rotting food, to artifacts colored in a specific pattern. Nothing was off limits, but everything always had a strange twist as to why they were collected. His worshippers often referred to him as the Pit. The next old god worshipped is Ishathupa, a lithe, sinewy woman with a wrangling crown of thorns that grew from the back of her neck. Old textbooks depict long, exasperating stories that recount her incessant, pathological lying, as well as her inherent, unpredictable nature. Most of these stories simply end with her stealing or swindling a coveted item from someone else. Her worshippers refer to her as the Jester. The next old god worship is Singles, a man with 2 faces, 4 arms, and a massive, endless hole carved out of his chest. The old textbooks often showcase this god as being soft and slow, ambling through life with a purpose, but doing so as sluggishly as possible. This has led many historians of Telduria to think Singles wasn't wholly vile, or at the very least, not as evil as the other old gods. Many of his worshippers referred to him as the Sloth. The next old god worshipped is Chetarima, a muscular creature as tall as a mountain, with a carved out hole where its face should be, and a pair of wings as black as night sprouting from atop its shoulders. Old textbooks on Chetarima are often confusing. They constantly refer to this god as female, but constantly attribute her body with excessively masculine features. The only thing that remains consistent is her foul, violent temper and the fact that she reveled in acts of war. Her followers refer to her as the Vengeful. The next old god worshipped is Shakor, a 4-armed maiden with an hourglass figure composed entirely of exposed flesh and bone. Old textbooks often attribute her to being the pinnacle of beauty, which is only matched by her insatiable lust. Many stories include her hypnotizing men and women alike to participate in extravagant orgies, only to be dumped like carcasses into a furnace when her lust was finally satiated. Many of her followers refer to her as the Mistress. The next old god worshipped was Tasdu, a tall, lanky man with limbs seemingly made of elastic rubber, as they could stretch and bend infinitely. Old textbooks often depict him at odds and ends, with Ishathupa competing with her for the best loot. In fact, almost all of his stories include him competing with her, sometimes winning, sometimes losing. His followers refer to him as the Thief. And finally, the last of the old gods worshipped is Dirani, a man who never walked, who had 6 arms, and a mouth made of an endless amount of writhing tendrils. Old textbooks often depict him as a wise, soft-spoken hermit, while others paint him as an unstoppable force of destruction. The only thing that remains consistent is that he was the de facto leader of the old gods, and his followers referred to him as the Master. Religious History, Part 4. The Oracles. The Oracle is, as previously stated, the figurehead and leader of the Aquan Society. Gifted with the power to be able to see the future, the Oracle is always female, and is always born on the same date, the winter solstice. This is among the most basic of common knowledge in the world of Telduria. However, this power isn't as consistent as it is made out to be by the common individual. As stated, the history of the Aquan Society, although the Oracle can read the future, a large issue is that the future is always changing. This has led many oracles to be as vague and imprecise as possible, while still trying their best to give the relevant information when reading the futures of certain individuals. The reading behind it is this. If the information is too precise and easy to follow, the future for that individual may change. However, if the information is too difficult to understand, the individual may never understand what the future has in store. This, in turn, has led to a very rocky relationship between the Oracle and the other leaders of the two nations because of her inherent uncertainty that the Oracle carries with her. Although there have been many oracles that have led the Ankhan society into prosperous golden ages, there have also been many oracles that have led their home into disastrous dark ages. This power of clairvoyance is difficult to control and often has many undesirable outcomes from those who know about it. As an example, one oracle refused to read or share the future of any person that crossed her path. The consequence was that she was temporarily removed from power after a tsunami struck the city of Ardwell. She could have done something to warn the citizens of the impending danger, but was too afraid of her own power to make a move, and as a result, thousands of civilians died in that cataclysm. Another example is of an oracle who would overshare the future of anyone who asked. She was kind and well-loved by her community, but her instinctual paternal personality eventually led to telling the wrong man the right information at the wrong time. This single event, the telling of the future of a single individual, led to the bloodiest war in Teldurian history. These examples are why most oracles choose to be as vague and as verbally verbose and unappealing as possible. It's an attempt, born mostly out of fear, to save as many lives as possible from tragedies both man-made and natural-born. Religious History Part 5, The Druidic Council. The Druidic Council is still much of a mystery to the vast majority of Telduria. Although there are many tales, novels, and stories of those who were in the council, there are very few that recount how the council was created or how these druids came into power within the council. The only thing that solidified the council is as follows. 1. The Druidic Council is only ever made up of exactly 5 members at a time. 2. These members are voted in by previous members of the council. 3. Members of the Druidic Council are the only druids allowed to teach others their way of life. 4. Revealing any of the secrets of the Druidic Council to anyone outside of it is punishable by public execution. The only thing to know about these druids is the fact that each druid changes... The only other thing to know about these druids is the fact that each druid changes their last name into the first name of the person who taught them their druidic powers. It's an attempt to preserve druidic history within the circle of the druids themselves. Some druids do take this to an extreme and attempt to have their names stretch dozens of words long, with each subsequent name being after the name of other previous masters. And the only reason why anyone in Telduria knows any of this is due to a woman named Zerna Olvit. General Knowledge Part 1. There are 3 major guilds throughout the entire world of Telduria: the Mercenary Guild, the Thieves Guild, and the Bardic Union. The Mercenary Guild has headquarters in every major city, including capitals, except in Kelmar. They function on a commission-based system where civilians post quests of all kinds to be accepted and completed by members of the guild. These quests have only a single requirement: they must not break the laws of the land. The Mercenary Guild prides itself on being honorable, but not above the law. They are not a police force, but a collection of volunteers doing their part in making the world a happier place. The Thieves Guild, however, cares not for laws. Although they function very similar to the Mercenary Guild, taking commissions from civilians, they instead have no qualms with murder, thievery, and blatant sabotage. Many who have their jobs rejected by the Mercenary Guild for being too grotesque often give those same jobs to the Thieves Guild, who live under these cities. Thankfully, much like the Mercenary Guild, the Thieves Guild exists in every major city, including the capitals, except for Kelmar. And finally is the Bardic Union. The only building dedicated to the guild is the Bardic College, located in Ironstead, and much of its purpose is entirely economic. Members can only join through a personal, rigorous test of performance capabilities. The Bardic College acts as an oligarchy of sorts, where taverns and royalty all across the world send commissions and payments to the college requesting entertainment, and in return, the college sends some of its members to perform in whatever way was requested. General Knowledge, Part 2. Religious Sect. There are 8 religious sects, outside of the cultists and worshippers of the old gods that still roam, obviously, that exist in the plane of Telduria. These 8 religious sects pertain to these 7 new gods. They are the Golden Hilt, the Silver Cross, the Iron Gauntlet, the White Book, the Monks of the Valley, the Undying Hearts, the Gravekeepers, and the Community of Joy. The Golden Hilt, represented by its own title, a golden hilt of a sword, and the Silver Cross, once again represented by its own title, a silver cross, are 2 sects that specifically worship the goddess Ione. The Golden Hilt is made almost exclusively of paladins, whose main purpose is to scout the lands and proactively destroy evil wherever it may rise. The Silver Cross is almost exclusively made of clerics, whose main purpose is to scout the lands and retroactively heal communities damaged by evil. The Iron Gauntlet, represented by its own title, an Iron Gauntlet, is the sect that specifically worships the god Nihir. This group does not have any specific code of how its patrons dress, so it often consists of fighters of all stripes, warriors, paladins, rangers, and monks. This religious sect is, more or less, the police force of Telduria, upholding the law in whatever lands they may be. During times of war, however, they act as shock troops, being the first ones into battle. The White Book, again represented by its own title, a White Book, is a sect that specifically worships the goddess Evita. This group is composed almost entirely of sorcerers, wizards, and other dedicated magic users. This community is funded by the governments of Telduria, and their whole purpose is to spread knowledge. They erect libraries and schools, as well as run them with their own staff. The Monks of the Valley, represented by a man meditating with crossed legs, is the sect that specifically worships the god Tyther. Although their namesake may seem like only monks make up the ranks of this religious sect, it's actually mostly comprised of diplomats and advisors. Although the ruling parties of the world of Telduria are certainly free to choose whoever they want as political advisors, this sect was created as a way to create individuals who are as unbiased as humanly possible in hopes to create a more globally connected world. The Undying Hearts, represented by crossing chains wrapped around a single fist, is the group that specifically worships the god Ekthar. Much like the Iron Gauntlet, this group has no consistent representation within its members, as it comprises of anyone who believes in the same things that Ekthar does. The Undying Hearts is a group that funds the mercenary guild the most, to the point where most citizens believe that the Undying Hearts exclusively runs the guild. Probably because the majority of the members, as well as the mercenary guild council, are often composed of those in the Undying Hearts religious sect. The Gravekeepers, represented by a bright red apple, is the sect that specifically worships the goddess Reliqua. This is the only other religious sect funded by the ruling governments of Telduria. They do not consist of any special members, just individuals that do exactly as the name implies. They gravekeep. These men and women simply tend to the graveyards scattered throughout the land, making sure their funeral rites and final resting place is as keen and as clean as possible. The Community of Joy, represented by a lute beaming with light, is the sect that specifically worships the god Kotmez. This group is composed almost entirely of bards, with its headquarters being the Bardic College of Ironstead itself. Its only purpose is to do whatever exactly Kotmez does in his stories: spread happiness and joy to whoever is in earshot. And that is the end of the lore document. Almost an hour on the dot. I think this time I read it slightly faster than usual. Hooray? Maybe.
Woo!
Woo. Let's see who's here. We have 1, 2. We only have 4. We're missing someone.
Yes. Damn.
What did you do to them?
Oops.
What do you mean, oops?
No, I think he's probably in the car right now going home.
Okay.
It snowed yesterday and people can't drive when it snowed.
But what about German engineering?
Yes, German engineering only works if you use the car like it is supposed to be used.
I don't know if I believe that.
That makes sense to me. Same thing happened here. It snowed and people start spinning out.
Well, that's because of not German engineering.
It's also because of Texan incompetence when it comes to snow.
Well, to be fair, it never fucking snows in Texas.
Exactly.
And to be fair, in the last few years, it has snowed a few times, and things do just, like, die in Texas if it snows.
Yes.
Alright, well, now I get to set up OBS to, add your stuff while your images are already on the page here. You're not actually in, if that makes sense. But while I do this, we can fill the dead air. Starting off with a character who I currently have in my arms, Doris. Or Doras. How is it actually pronounced?
Let's just go with Dora.
Doras. Except you roll the R, so it's Doras.
Well, I'm not really good at rolling the R. It's a skill issue.
But
so yeah, just
how about
Doras.
you introduce the people who are watching who you are and who your character is?
That sounds like a good idea. Okay, so yeah, I'm playing Doras Kervan, the tiefling you can see on the very left next to the book. He's currently employed at the Thieves Guild, but he was formerly with the military, now with the Thieves Guild. I should go for the actually important stuff. He's a war priest of Nihir, and his main focus at the Thieves Guild is killing people, getting rid of troublemakers, defending the guild people, and shooting them with his bow.
Hee hee.
Hee hee, hoo hoo.
Alright, the next one will be Harrison.
So I'm just introducing myself and then my character.
Yeah, you don't have to like detail your whole backstory or anything. Just a perfectly fine summary is good enough. Well,
Espionage.
espionage, that's it.
Great summary, thank you.
I think you were cutting off.
Oh yeah, you might have been cutting that in and out then, if you were actually speaking before.
Well, fun.
It's okay. Blame it on Discord being just the fucking worst.
Yeah.
I think we lost Harrison.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, well, again, just reset. Try
You might
it.
want to consider talking.
Yeah, introduce yourself, introduce your character.
Well, then this works this time.
Ah,
Hello, I am.
We can hear you. Hooray!
Yay! Hello, I'm Zany. I am playing Harrison, a kitsune, who is. I forgot my whole spiel.
The adoptive son of someone by the name of Layla.
Yes, the adopted son of Layla, who is disguises and espionage. Also likes to transform into a fox.
Yes. The next one that we will go over is Locke.
Hello. As a player, I am Vanoros Lumpo. I can normally be found as a cute penguin parrot. However, my character is a rat folk by the name of Locke Rogers. He too is an adopted son of Layla, having become an orphan at a young age, but now he joined the Thieves Guild to try and make his adopted mother proud. So yeah, that's where he's at.
Alright, and then we go to Leiku.
Okay. Hello. I guess I'll just introduce myself as a person first. I'm Cynical. I am an Asian dragon turned jackalope VTuber. I'm Shameless's wife. I stream also, but today I am not an Asian dragon turned jackalope. I am a Lashunta, which I suppose in this lore is a Thri-Kreen and elf mix. Leiku is a sorceress, a Sylvan sorceress, and she has an animal companion named Hissy. He is a saber-toothed cat, and he's very grumpy.
He go meow.
Yeah, he does go meow.
He does
But
so
soon
racistly.
will speak. Probably. He will speak.
If you could find that
One
feed
day.
again, yeah.
I already know what feat tree I'm going to go down. Okay, I've been here many times. I know what to do. He will eventually start speaking, and I'm not going to be blamed if it's offensive because he's an offensive character. Smile.
Well, I mean, all cats are offensive. Everyone knows that.
I hope everybody's okay with an offensive cat. Offensive and offensive, because that's what he is.
And then
Smile.
finally we
Sounds good.
have the tardy one today, which is very unbecoming. Hello, Reich.
Hi. So, I am Rith or Alsa on the server, and in game I will be Reich Dayrun, who is a former cultist who was actually born into a family of cultists who now finally got free from his family in search of his younger brother.
And
I
no
think
one
that's the
knows that
important.
and no one knows that he's a cultist.
No,
No,
obviously
we don't
not.
know this. Don't worry, I will forget real soon.
Yeah, she does have the
Well-
memory of a goldfish.
Fuck you, bitch.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. All right. Well, now I can actually turn off this little background music here, and I'm going to be sending a link here in the general chat.
Oh, we're not doing watch together?
I still haven't set that up because I forgot again because I was
Oh, stinky
focusing.
poopy.
I was focusing a little bit too much on other work. This works perfectly fine. It's not a big deal, but
So you're a stinky boy.
yeah, I'm still a stinky boy.
Yeah, you are.
All right.
Okay, I guess we're gonna do the countdown.
So everyone make sure that you have that YouTube link up. For those of you that are new and don't really know, my usual MO when it comes to doing D&D is that I will handcraft about a 4-hour long playlist and upload it to YouTube to play in the background as we're doing stuff like this instead of just having like 9 generic tracks on a soundboard that I switch between because I find that boring. Eventually, the music in question will start to become more and more curated towards the group to the point that it will straight up predict a lot of your actions and actually change in tone while you do said actions. So do not be surprised when my severe amounts of autism decide to psychoanalyze everyone in this group as they play this character. I promise I am not doing it for evil.
Okay, are you done showing off now? Can we start the session?
Why are you such a butthole?
Fucking taking your long ass time with
Why
your
are
intro.
you such a butthole?
You're showing off, yeah.
Are you done being a butthole?
No.
Alright, so I'm just gonna mute Sin for the rest of the
Fuck
session.
you.
Alright, so I will go 3, 2, 1, go, and on go is when everyone plays, okay?
Okay.
3,
Alright.
2, 1, go.
Ah, the volume.
You forgot the volume, didn't you?
Yeah, I forgot the volume. It's okay. I'm good now.
Okay, good job. So, it is an indistinguishable day here in the wonderful city of Tarantus. I did not pick a day because I am lazy. I did not pick a month because I am lazy. All 5 of you have been more or less relaxing in the underbelly of Tarantus for some time. Some of you live here. Some of you moved here after one of your previous missions and just decided to hang out for a little while. Eventually, however, a letter approaches each and every single one of you. It is handed over by one of the many couriers that the Thieves Guild has access to, and this is something that is both concerning but expected from each and every single one of your ends. As you each are handed your letter, wherever you may be in the city of Tarantus, you open it up and you see that it's blank. But for some ungodly reason, you just feel an immense amount of disappointment radiating from this letterhead. Where do you all think you have to go?
Wait, are we all together?
No.
Okay, alright. I was a little confused. That's all.
That's why I said wherever in the city you may be, this is where you get it. I'm asking an open-ended question. Where do you think you 5 have to go?
That sounds like Layla's non-existent handwriting right there on the letter.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah?
like we're being called home.
Probably go meet her.
Time to go see Mom.
So, you all eventually make your way back into the Thieves Guild itself. And it is at this point that the 5 of you will all bump into each other. Probably in the general area of the guild itself. Each and every single one of you may go ahead and roll for perception.
Alrighty.
While I
In the
go and grab
bot channel.
this.
And remember, guys, you gotta roll in the right channel, otherwise it don't count.
Correct.
Including
so-
NAC 20s. Can I roll for my cat?
No, just you.
What the hell?
So I see 3 rolls, I need 5. I'm missing one from Locke and Harrison.
Nine.
Alrighty, so
There
everyone
we go.
here passes. Good job. And as you start to walk your way through the Thieves Guild itself, you all notice that you're still carrying that important letterhead. and you all notice that all 5 of you have been summoned by the same person.
You guys too, huh?
Yep. Any idea what's up?
Not a clue.
No idea.
Leica would just shake her head. She'll shrug. Only one way to find out.
I think it is safe to assume we are in trouble.
That's certainly a
Remember
possibility.
doing anything I could
You might be in
for.
trouble. She probably just misses me.
Yes, I definitely agree with that assessment.
Sure.
Alright, so more or less silently, you continue making your way through the Thieves Guild until finally you see Layla herself, to which I will also put here in the general chat for everyone to see once I actually get to it. There it is.
Yay!
So you can see the individual that rules over you. For a bit of exposition for those who are watching. Layla is often called the third in command here at the Thieves Guild. She is the third most important individual throughout the entire guild. Her main job is to hand out jobs to basically everyone else in the guild. Every single job that comes in has to go through her first to be approved. So, as the 5 of you enter her office, she looks up from her massive mound of paperwork, and she goes through, examining the expression of each and every single one of you, and before standing upright, walking over to one of the papers that has been placed off of her desk and somewhere else, before grabbing it as well as a manila folder, and motioning for each of you to follow as she brings you into another room. There, she has you sit around a rather large table before she sets the manila folder down. And she says, someone, one of the larger donators of the Thieves Guild, has requested a very important job. And as she opens the manila folder and starts flipping through some of the images as well as the other documents that are related to the mission, she starts to explain them. She says that this particular individual has been in contact with the Duchess of Dragonport and has been going back and forth trying to buy an item from the Duchess's inventory. For those of you who don't really know, the Duchess is an avid collector of rare items, magical and benign. And occasionally, after throwing large parties or doing whatever the fuck she does for the city to pretend that she cares for it, she will occasionally auction off a lot of her items. However, this particular item, to which she slides across the table to show every single one of you, seems to not be for sale, regardless of how much money our patron is trying to offer. So instead of paying her for the item, they are paying us for the item. And as you all look over and examine the item itself, you can see that it is really nothing more than a loot, but it is rather strangely shaped. It seems like it's a large figure 8 as like the base of the item, with a long line cutting through the center, going through the top of the 8, going out almost 2.5 times the length of the 8 itself. There doesn't seem to be any other descriptors or other factors on it, other than the fact that it's just like an unstringed loot. The loot just looks kind of weird. After handing over the picture and letting each and every single one of you look through it, she goes, "Do you have any questions?"
Well, I guess Any idea where that loot might be?
No, somewhere inside her house.
Do we
No
know
questions,
anything
man.
more about it? Because surely, just for a loot, we are far too expensive to just. You could buy any loot.
I think you missed the part where this one is one of a kind.
Well, even still, for a one-of-a-kind loot, it's only a loot.
Do you usually talk back to your boss like that?
Do you usually talk back to your mother like that?
That
I'm
makes it
sorry.
even worse.
Do you have any questions about the mission itself?
No, ma'am.
Anyone else?
No, man.
Are we supposed to be quiet here? Is it okay if we rough up some guard? What's the deal?
Because this is the second largest city in all of Tarantus, I'll ask you a question. Do you want the entire city guard after you?
Not really.
Then what do you think the answer is?
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Do we have an estimate of how many guards are in here on shift?
In her mansion, she usually employs about a dozen. Though depending on when you show up, that number may go up or down depending on whether or not she's setting up for a gala or one of her dumb fucking community drives or whatever the shit she wants to call it.
Is there a timeline on this mission?
Just as soon as you can. However, you will only be given a week of supplies.
Okay.
Do we have the schematics of the building or know who the architect of the building?
No, unfortunately, we do not. This is
Like
the
who
first
returned to
time
the
that
rest?
this is the first time that we've had to steal anything from the Duchess of Dragonport. Usually she's the one who hires us to do things, not the other way around.
Leiku will turn to the rest of the group and ask them, so, since there's a chance that she might be running a gala, it's not particularly uncommon that she would do this. Should we wait until then, or should we try and do it at a time in which there are less people around? There are pros and cons to both. I'm willing to hear anyone's opinions.
A distraction would be very useful. Also, we could use it to maybe see if she's interested in anything else for exchange.
If she was interested in anything else for exchange, do you think we would have been hired?
Also, probably best not to draw attention to anybody else being interested in the item. As for if we should use a gala if there is one, perhaps something we should decide upon learning if there is due to be a gala. But it does come with the pros and cons that a gala will likely mean a lot more guards, but comes with the added distraction that those guards will mainly be focused on whatever hall the gala is being hosted in.
Correct. There are pros and cons, as I said.
Well, the five of you can discuss it in detail on your way there. You will be given food and clothes in order to get there, and everything else will be supplied to you at the Thieves Guild in Dragonport.
All right then.
Take a day or two to gather your belongings, and then get out.
Okay, let's get it done.
Then let's not waste any more of your valuable time.
Leiku will pout. Liz, a playful pout. She'll go, "Aw, so mean."
Layla doesn't
she'll
respond to
walk
any
away.
of this. She just leaves.
Like, we'll
So-
wave.
Is there anything that the 5 of you would like to do before you leave to Dragonport itself?
No, not really. Just basic gather up my stuff. And
Yeah,
then
probably nothing else.
wherever we're arranged
Alrighty.
to leave from.
Gather up.
Brings my cat.
Brings your cat that you didn't draw, so no one knows what they look like.
I did though.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the table.
Okay,
Stinky.
fine then. Just draw it right now. Fuck you.
You have other art that you gotta do.
Yeah, well, this is a scuffed image, okay?
Oh, are you just gonna make them round?
Well, how else are you gonna put them on the table?
Sure. Alright, so you were given supplies enough to be able to travel to Dragonport, to which it is a 2-week journey to get there. And finally, upon arriving, you find the lovely city of Dragonport itself. To which I can always send background images if people want me to do that too. The other group did. Do you guys want me to send the background images of where you actually are?
I mean, I don't mind. I've just got stream open, but if if everyone else wants to send them, then obviously I can view them that way.
Here is the city of Dragonport. Massive, imposing, built entirely around the port itself, and very little deviation therein. When you get there, you all just almost directly go right to the secret entrance to the Thieves Guild, and you make your way underneath. This is not as large as the one in Tarantus, because this one is more of an offshoot. While Dragonport is still an imposing city, the Thieves Guild that is located here just doesn't have the same foothold as the one in Tarantus, at least in comparison to its size. While you were there, you hand over letters to the dirges that guard the place to indicate that yes, you are allowed to be there, and yes, you are allowed some supplies, to which one of the dirges there indicates that your mission has a handler. To which, as you're walking along, I'm gonna roll a 1d4. Give me just a second. 2. So that would be Locke. As everyone is walking along, Locke, one of the dirges, one of the guards there, nudges you and goes, "Hey, lucky you, isn't it, huh? That you get to involve yourself with the number 4." To which, Locke, you know exactly who that is, because that's your sister. Specifically, Kate.
Also, the woman who taught me alchemy.
Yeah.
So I imagine upon hearing that we're working with the number 4, Locke would start to sweat profusely and look very worried.
To which the guard gets mildly concerned and goes, "Are you okay, man?"
Yep, totally fine. No problems. No problems.
I didn't know rats could sweat like that. Are you sure you're okay?
I'll be fine. Nope. It's just starts to wipe his forehead.
Technically, rats can absorb quite a lot of liquid. They can turn into a ball.
What?
Smiles.
Please don't turn into a ball. I don't want to roll you.
I have never turned into a ball
Because you can.
that I am aware of.
So,
I mean, there was that one time, but that wasn't my fault.
as you turn the corner and you start to go to the supply area to gather the supplies that you could potentially need for this mission, as well as interacting with your handler, all of you see as Kate pokes her head out of the doorway of the supply closet, scanning down the hallway, and she immediately lights up. She runs out of the doorway, going, "Oh my god!" And she starts running to the nearest person, who in this case happens to be Harrison. And she goes, "It's been so long! I haven't seen you since!" And after she takes another step, you watch as her entire body converts to sand and just slides across the floor as she screams out in pain and agony and dies.
Harrison is going to transform into a fox and run behind Locke. He is also going to yell out down the hall, "That's not funny!"
As you run behind Locke, you then feel two hands against your head as you were being pet by Kate with both of her palms, and she goes, "What do you mean? It's fucking hilarious."
Locke is nervous laughing right now.
Leiku will beam and go, "Kate, it's been so long. You've grown up so much. Since the
To
last
which-
time I saw you."
Leiku, as you say that, Kate immediately jumps up, poofing into a cloud of smoke, only for another cloud of smoke to poof in reverse above you before Kate lands splayed out across your shoulders.
Leiku will pet Kate's head and go, now, don't overexert yourself. Since you're the handler, you're gonna be having to use all that energy later."
She's like, "Yeah, I can handle these," and she starts, kickboxing your tits.
Leiku will go, She will continue to pet Kate.
And Kate will then immediately liquefy before re-solidifying in front of Locke, pinching his cheeks and goes, "You look so cute. See, look at you, look at your little lapel," and she'll run her fingers along the the vials that are across his chest, though this way is much better, and she runs her finger along her waist against her vials instead.
It was too uncomfortable. It's easier on the shoulder.
Yeah, but how else are you supposed to show off your assets? And she, turns around and points to herself like this.
No.
She'll just stick her tongue out at you before looking over at the other two. She'll point at Reich and go, "Stranger danger."
Please. I don't get paid enough for this.
You get paid exactly what you deserve. She'll just give a big, toothy grin, and then her hand will slowly point behind her over her shoulder at the tiefling behind her, and she'll go, "Who's this Futternutter?"
Hey, what? I don't think I heard that before.
I'm calling you old man.
Yeah, sure.
I don't remember seeing you. You are, and as she says this, she keeps taking a single step closer, and then she presses a finger against your armor. A stranger, before immediately dissipating into nothing. As a matter of fact, she holds up a hand and just makes a peace sign across her face as she slowly vanishes.
I've been working here for like 20 years. Where did she go?
She does that.
She's on her way to give you a heart attack. Watch your back.
You look down the hallway
Fine.
again, and she's peering out the door, and she goes, "What are you all doing?"
Waiting for you to be done.
"I've been done. What do you mean?" She'll just smile knowingly down the hallway.
Here, you add this to your overlay.
Oh. Sure. Sure.
La criatura.
It's so damn cute.
I want to eat it.
No!
Mochi shaped must be tasty.
Why did you do this to
It
yourself?
must be tasty.
Here, let me try
Yummers.
and add it.
And you made it mint color as well.
He's always been kind of mint colored.
If not
Even when I
why
first
food
drew
tape?
him. A
All
little
right,
bit
so
mint.
Hissy's gonna be this big and be placed right here.
But where? I must see. I don't have stream on for fear that something bad might happen.
10 out
but
of
it's
10.
okay. I'm looking at an advertisement of Taco Bell.
Oh, fun.
All right, so that is where you'll be placed.
wait.
So, what is the group gonna do now? After being
Let's
harassed by
follow her.
Kate for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I will warily follow her while pushing somebody at random in front of me to go before me.
All right, I'll roll a 1d4.
I
That
think it'd
happens
be
to
a
be
1d3.
Lathan that you're pushing in front of you.
Yeah, that's the perfect
How
cage.
tall are you?
Pretty tall. Let me see what I... Yeah, 185 centimeters. That is just a bit above 6 feet.
Okay. Leiku's 5 foot.
Perfect. I can peer over your head.
Yeah, and down.
Why
her
do you
cleavage.
put Hissy on my tits?
Because that's where he belongs.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Okay.
It's his home.
So yes, we're following her.
Yes, you make your way into the supply room, to which there you see not just Kate, but also Kate and Kate and Kate, all standing around the supply closet. They're all wearing completely different hats. One of them has exaggerated buck teeth wedged into her mouth, and
Nerd emoji.
basically. And as you can see, the supplies have been divided up into, weapons, potions, armor, and then Thieves Guild specific stuff like guns and bombs. As you walk in, the other Kate, but not that Kate, the one that's not that Kate, but the other Kate, walks up to the 5 of you and starts to talk in a rather wild accent, and by wild accent, I mean she changes it every 2 sentences, basically re-describing the mission that you've got as to the fact that you are stealing a valuable item from the Duchess of Dragonport, to which it is imperative that none of you are seen whatsoever, because she is a large progenitor, a large supplier to the guild itself, as the grand majority of the items that she does get, that she doesn't buy herself, she hires the Thieves Guild to steal anyway. So what supplies
As
would
we
everyone
enter
like?
the room, I'm going to check behind the door to see if there is a Kate hiding behind the door.
There is in fact
Having
a
been-
Kate hiding behind the door.
Having fallen for that far too many times throughout my youth.
She pouts and complains, and you all watch as every single Kate except for one just explodes into a pile of confetti.
I think we should get 1 or 2 bombs in case we need a distraction.
Kate simply sits on the floor, crossing her arms, and pouts, looking over in Locke's direction every now and then, pouts some more.
Am I not a sufficient distraction? Brown.
Depends. The kind of attention you can't get, an explosion usually can.
I guess that's fair.
And
really
yeah,
argue
we
with that.
don't want to be seen, so yeah.
I mean, bombs are also just fun.
Which is absolutely my kind of mission, I say completely sarcastically.
Would the Baroness know each and every one of us?
Not personally, but if she visits the guild long enough, she may recognize your faces, and that can spell issues. Kate the Wild Magic Rogue. No, this is just her being an illusionist. But that is her specialty. She can create very convincing illusions.
So do we have any potions that can maybe like change your face for a while, change your shape, disguise you, anything like that?
I mean,
Kate will look
I can
over in your general direction, entirely unamused, before looking at Locke, and then back at you, and she goes, "Or invisibility, fucking idiot, dumbass."
I mean, I'm not
I
great
guess.
at invisibility, but I can always make disguises. Well, disguise self.
And I can put together a good costume. Assuming we have the supplies for it. Is there fabric in the supply closet? Fabric and string?
There is, yes.
I mean,
Perfect.
it would tap me completely for the day, but assuming that we were to go not any day other than today, I could make a total of 4 potions of disguise. But
And I can disguise myself. So you won't need to use a potion on me.
Kate flops
But that
onto the
will-
ground, complaining, and she goes,
that
"But I can
will
just
be
make
my
you
entirety."
invisible."
Yes, please. How many invisibility potions can you make? Purely out of curiosity.
I'm an alchemist. I can make however much I want.
Okay. How many would you make for us if we ask for them?
She rolls over onto her stomach so that she can hold herself up on her elbows, and she gives a tantalizing wink in your general direction. She goes, "How much money will you give me?"
Depends on your asking price.
Depends on your asking price.
Family discount.
Ugh. Only for you. And you. And she points over at Harrison.
It was Harrison that said that.
Oh, sorry. It lit up Locke for me.
Ah,
Don't know why. But yes, she'll say yes and then point over at Locke and say you too. And then she'll point at Locke again and go, "How comes you can't do invisibility?"
I don't know. It was the one I couldn't get the hang of. It always
She-
made me purple.
She flops onto the floor again and says, "I am terrible. The worst teacher, the worst mistress."
I don't say that. You're
No,
a perfectly good young lady.
I'm just a failure as a student.
you're a
"Let
great
us
big
be
sister, though.
depressed together," she says, before slowly rolling over to Locke in a way so that she can lay across his feet.
Can you two please not depression spiral right in our supply run?
No.
Yeah, no, why am I asking?
True.
Is Kate on her stomach or on her back?
She'll be on her stomach.
Harrison will transform into a fox and lay on her back.
Hooray! Depression pile. She'll reach up with an
That's it.
arm, to which everyone, to their horror, will continue to extend past her reach. But instead of grabbing Locke by like the collar in front, it will wrap around him twice before grabbing the back of his shirt and then dragging him down into the depression pile.
I'll just look at everybody else and just say, the quickest way out of the spiral is through.
Right.
Up on top of Locke.
Yes, it is Kate Harrison then Locke. That is the sandwich here.
I said before Harrison gets squished, he's going to hop on top of Locke.
Oh. Too bad, you are now squished between two rats.
Hmm.
It's okay, rats are soft and covered in fur.
Weird sandwich.
Well,
It's
at
a
least these
randwich.
three are having fun.
So,
I'll give it like 30 seconds of sandwich, and then I'll just say, okay, so happier thoughts?
She looks in your general direction and goes, "Are you actually depressed?
I mean, it was.
Why?"
Because, you know, I still can't do what you told me was the most basic of potions.
So you'll be able to do it tomorrow, or tomorrow's tomorrow, or the day after that.
Exactly. That's why happier thoughts now. We can't dwell on the negative.
You're weird. Why were you depressed to begin with?
I don't know. I don't choose when and how to be depressed.
Skill issue.
Is the therapy session over?
what a remarkably strange yet simple family.
Eventually,
I'd
the
like
three of you
to
all
be-
get up, and she goes, "Okay, fine, go get your shit for today's mission. Just know that you cannot be seen, okay? That is the whole point of today's mission. You cannot be seen."
Okay.
Right.
Well, do you happen to have any idea if there's any galas or events planned in like the next week there?
The target's house? No. She had one. She looks at her wrist, which has no watch, 17 days ago, and she's not going to hold another gala or community drive for another 3 to 4 months. And
okay.
as much as I know that you do not have a time limit on this mission, I don't think Mom would very appreciate the fact of you waiting 3 to 4 months to do so.
Yeah, I don't think she'd like that.
All right then. We might need some potions of invisibility.
I think we would.
So, what equipment are you going to go and get?
Potions of invisibility? What did I just say?
I didn't hear that part. Well,
I'm gonna stock up on pistols and grenades.
well, potions of invisibility are 300 gold apiece.
Is that including the discount?
The family discount is 25% off. So for family members, you get 225. Now, invisibility potions last for 1 minute per level. Give you a plus 20 bonus to stealth checks. However, they will immediately vanish if you do anything offensive or aggressive.
Does that include lockpicking?
No.
Okay.
Aggressive or offensive actions would be like trying to knock someone out, casting a spell, things of that nature.
Fair.
The invisibility potions that you would get would be from I think at the base is automatically a 3rd level caster, so that's 3 minutes that each of these invisibility potions would be able to grant if people would like to buy some.
I will buy one. Actually, I'll buy two.
You're going to buy
One for me,
two.
one for my cat.
You're gonna
Yeah,
bring
I'm
one
gonna
for
buy
your
it.
cat. Okay.
I will
Excuse me.
move over to Locke and show him 250 gold and say, can we make a deal with this?
I mean,
You get your discount, keep the rest. I don't pay 300.
Kate is going to stand right next to the both of you, staring at you suspiciously.
as much as I would like to take your 25 gold, she scares me too much. I don't think she's taught me all of the antidotes to the things she can make.
Ah, worth a shot. And I'll just go with 300 gold to Kate.
She stares at you suspiciously and goes, "Damn, you're really bad at the art of the deal." Takes the 300 gold and hands you an invisibility potion. Is anyone else going to be buying an invisibility potion?
Yes.
Yes.
Harrison will buy 2.
2. Interesting.
Yes.
And Doris, what about you? Or Duras?
Yes, I also want to buy one,
Okay.
but I'm gonna ask her, like, I'm gonna put out like 250 gold and say, so if we fail and you are our handler, that would mean that, I forgot her name, Layla would be angry at you too, right?
Nope. She says with a big smile.
Oh. Sure, it just take you 300 gold. I'm apparently too old to haggle.
So, she takes your 300 gold and gives you an invisibility potion. And then she claps her hands together and goes, "Yay!" Now what?
Okay, can any of you guys pick locks and stuff? Because I can't.
Maybe we'll shake her head. It's not my style.
Not only do you
Not
need
really.
disabled device, you need a lock-picking kit in order to pick locks.
Do I have...
Let me just check how much
Yes!
the lockpicking kit weighs.
So different question. Is a flashbang also loud?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll pick up one flashbang for myself.
Yeah.
All grenades are 500 gold apiece.
Okay, I'm not doing that. Ah, 500, that's a bit steep.
Smiles.
Smiles indeed. I guess no grenade.
As Harrison is going to ask Kate, to confirm, the only person that doesn't need to see us is the Duchess?
Well, if she has
Or
people
just-
in her employ, it's safe to assume that they would be able to describe your appearance to her, which could lead to problems, so you should not be seen.
Ever.
Right.
I'm struggling to find lockpicks anywhere under equipment.
Lock-picking kit is probably in a weird place. Let's see, goods and services. It's either going to be in adventuring gear, or locks, keys, tools, and kits. Okay, it's not an adventuring gear. It is in locks, keys, tools, and kits. So there is the Thieves' Ring,
The Thieves' Ring.
which, let's see, oversized hides a few lockpicks made of metal alloy. They are sufficient to attempt disabled device checks without penalty. And you get a +2 bonus to sleight of hand to conceal it, which is whatever. And then there are the actual Thieves' Tools, which the Masterwork Thieves' Tools is 100 gold, weighs 2 pounds, and gives you a +2 bonus on disabled device checks. However, for 190 gold, you can get Concealable Thieves' Tools, which are a ½ pound, which also just give you a +2 bonus to disabled device checks.
Then I will go with the Concealable.
Alrighty, so that'd be 190 gold. I presume everyone here has bought everything that they would need?
Yep, at least for me.
I think so.
Alrighty, so after you gather all of your things, Kate will stand up and go shoot. Outside, upstairs, go. Off to do your job. Hooray! And she'll pull out 2 pom-poms that are contrasting colors to her fur color, and she'll start to do a little cheerleader dance for all of you.
Yes, thank you,
Correct.
I
sweetie.
leave the room.
You just leave the room.
You have a place where we can put our stuff that we won't need.
Yes, in your sleeping quarters, and she wheels her pom-poms and to her left, indicating that if you go down the hallway that in that general direction, you'll probably have rooms with your names on them.
Great. Thank you very much.
Hooray!
And I will
And she continues to
immediately
go
go
back to her
there.
dance. No one likes me.
I like you, sweetie.
Hooray! And then she'll give Leiku a hug.
Leiku will happily hug her back.
And then Kate will explode into confetti.
She has such a personality.
A personality indeed. So I will just drop off my bedroll and my folding chair.
Why do you have a fucking folding chair?
Why do you have a folding chair?
Necessary camping equipment, what can I say?
Okay.
But... okay.
Well, is everyone ready to go upstairs into the city of Dragon of Port itself?
Yes.
I'm ready for Dragon D's nuts.
Across your face, Emily.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
Lock.
Yep, ready to go.
Alrighty. So up to Dragon Port itself we go. Huzzah and hooray. So, do any of you know where the Duchess's mansion is located?
Shit.
In character, we probably do. Because she deals with a lot of business with us anyway. But
don't.
out of character, no.
Well, then I guess everyone who has... Actually, no. Unlike to those of you that have been in a session with me before, unlike before, where roles, I'll say that everyone can do them if they have them. In many situations, only one person can roll. To which none of you are allowed to discuss what your bonus is. None of you are allowed to say, oh, well, I have a 13, or my base is a +6, or whatever, and stuff like that. You just have to ascertain between each of you which one should do the roll in relation to it. If they fail, then it will go on to the next person, but there is, a limit to this, obviously. There are exceptions, like, for example, I'll say everyone roll for perception, but in this particular instance, only one of you is allowed to roll for knowledge local.
Okay, well, I don't have that.
Somebody
I
else
can't-
can take that one. I don't know my way around here.
Do have it. So I can roll it.
Well, like I said, only one of you is allowed to roll, so who wants to roll knowledge local?
I guess I will.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Add bonus without saying out loud.
Ooh.
Power. I know everything about Dragonport ever.
Oh,
As
no.
the five of you leave and you start to walk around, Locke, you walk up to an individual to try and gather some information as to where the Duchess's house is, and as you are speaking, the person looks down at you, calls you a racial slur and a tourist before walking off.
Lovely.
Locke just looks around and goes, rude.
I am already suppressing my urge to challenge random civilians to a duel, specifically this asshole.
Well, how's the group gonna try and find her mansion now?
I mean, I guess we could just do the shameful thing, go back down and ask our handler.
It's up to the group.
It's our best
Seems
bet,
reasonable.
unless we just want to wander around. We can either wander around aimlessly, spend all day looking, or go back to Kate.
Yeah, let us expedite things.
Back
Locke
to
spends
Kate.
a solid 30 seconds trying to convince you that we should just spend the day looking around.
Way to make a
The
great
whole while
first
knowing-
impression.
Harrison stops you in the middle of your speech, I suppose, and says, I know, but we have to, or this is going to take much longer than it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Locke says nothing more and just looks very defeated.
So who's gonna go back downstairs and talk to Kate?
I suppose I will, since I brought it up. So
Alright.
Harrison will go back down to the guild area and find Kate. Assuming that she wants to be found.
So you turn back around and go down into the Thieves Guild, and as you turn the corner to start walking down the hallway to I guess go to where you last found her.
Yeah.
You find her sitting atop a wooden plank in the hallway itself, leaned over on her side like one of them French girls, and she goes, "Hey there, stranger." Wink. She doesn't wink, she verbally says the word wink.
Well, we're not there.
You got a response to that? I think they died again.
Damn.
No, I'm here. Did
Okay.
my whole thing not go through?
No.
Oh. I said, hi. Can you tell us where the mansion is? About to get a map.
She gives a very big, toothy grin and she goes, "What, you got lost already?"
Yeah.
It's on the far
Locke was-
northern end of the city, furthest away from the port, but still within the city limits. It's the largest building that isn't the town center.
Thank you, sister.
And she wiggles a bit in place.
Harrison quickly turns around and goes back up to the rest of the group. So, it's the big building. It's the biggest building to the north of the city. At the far north city.
Oh, you mean that mansion?
Yes.
See, the logical place to start would have been what would have been the biggest place. We didn't need to go back.
Hmm.
So I guess let's go scout out the place, then probably break in during the night.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so you make your way up to the northern end of the city, and there you find the mansion in question. So hooray, clap, clap, good job. It seems to be on the just barely the edges of the city's outskirts. It's still very clearly within the city itself, but the fact that the foliage has grown and there are more trees than buildings indicate that you're just about to leave the city limits. As you approach, everyone here can go ahead and roll for perception.
Okay. Can my cat roll for perception?
Sure.
Okay, the first one will be from me.
And it seems that we have a take care of yourself redeem.
Okay, alright, so this first one is me.
a drink.
And this second one is Hissy. He's too busy being a cat.
Alright, so I'll go off the highest one, which is Reich. And Reich, as the group approaches, wherever you may be standing, you see that there are 2 guards outside. And you just so happened to get there at the perfect opportunity, where there is a guard change, as 2 other guards come out from inside the building, talk to the 2 that are outside the building, and effectively change places as the 2 outside the building go inside.
Mm-hmm. Can I make out what they are saying?
You would have to be able to physically hear them to try and make out what they're saying, so no. You'd be a little bit too far away for that.
Makes sense. Anything beyond those 2 guards?
From your current position at the front of the manor, no.
Then I'll just relay that information to the rest of the group. It seems like there are 2 guards up ahead, guarding the entrance. They just changed shifts, and I'll note down the time, whatever time it may be.
It is currently noon on the dot.
Well, we can't be seen by them, so it's best that we just try and sneakily, move past.
I mean, right now we're just people, so...
We should still not act suspicious around the mansion.
Yeah.
Even though that's exactly what we're doing right now. Let's walk around and see if we find anything else.
So which side of the mansion would you like to go?
Is there any obvious side, like a road, for example, where you would normally go along?
There is a footpath that leads along the left-hand side of the mansion, to which, if you take a quick peek as to what that may be... It seems to lead to where the Duchess holds the majority of her gala, to which there are a large array of seats out there, and so on and so forth.
so, but it would be unusual for a civilian to just randomly walk along this way.
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Right, just from my intuition, let's say. How would I feel about it?
I wouldn't be able to answer you.
Okay. Right. And I'll just turn to the group and say, I think we should do the rest. Maybe split up, maybe a bit more careful. I don't think there's any good reason to be here for a normal person.
So what is the group gonna do? They're gonna case the joint? You're gonna sneak your way around the buildings and attempt to try and find any potential entrances?
Well, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to sneak around, I would probably be better if I stay behind. I'm not like the stealthiest individual, and I like clank my heavy armor.
Well, don't
Fair.
you have invisibility?
I mean, do
If
we
that
want to
doesn't
use that
help with
now
the
or for the
noise.
break-in?
Seems kind of a waste to use it now.
Harrison will transform.
Not much. Just introduction to Group B and other things. Hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of what this group is going to be doing. However, to summarize this particular conversation is whether or not using the invisibility potions now is a good idea. If you don't want to use them right now, that's fine. You're just casing the joint.
I just look at the transformed Harrison and I'm like, that's incredibly useful. I can't believe I already forgot he can do that. Would you be so kind?
Harrison will scurry around, or will, yeah, he'll just scurry around the perimeter of the lawn for now. Stay within line of sight of the group so that things don't go terribly. To look for any possibly open windows, unlocked doors, anything like that.
Alright, well, there are 4 sides to a house, so you're going to be doing 2 sets of 4 different checks. We'll do it all in order first to do stealth checks. So you're going to do 4 separate stealth checks, or sneak checks, whatever it is written on your sheet. They're obviously interchangeable. However, when you transform into a fox, you become a small creature, which gives you a +4 bonus on that stealth check.
Alright, so that would increase my modifier by 4.
Correct.
Alright.
Uh-oh, hold on.
What?
I'm just looking at a couple of things on my end. Don't mind me.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, Sleepy Cloud, for the follow. It's greatly appreciated.
So just roll the 4.
Making the assumption himself that, you know, today is entirely for casing the place and not going in. Locke is going to drink his own potion of disguised self, just to look like a random.
I
say,
believe we're
random
having
dwarf.
Harrison transform into a fox.
Yeah, but since I assume somebody needs to stay at least.
If you're out of
Not
sight,
right
it doesn't
with
really
him.
matter. Regardless, Harrison, go ahead and make your 4 stealth checks. Remember that you get a
Okay.
+4 bonus on top of whatever your stealth may be, because as a fox, you are technically a small creature, which gives you a +4 bonus.
Right.
So that's 1. You don't have to retype out either all of your rolls. If you hit up enter, like you're going to edit your previous roll, it will re-roll for you.
Uh-huh.
2. 2 more. 3.
3. 4.
Alrighty, all of these are successes. So now you're going to do a perception check. You're effectively scanning the sides of the house to see if there are any open entrances that you could potentially abuse. And this, again, is 4 different perception checks. I don't think Fox has got a bonus to this, but let me go and double check just in case. Let's see. You were literally just a normal fox, right?
Yes.
Let's see. They are level 1. No, they do not get a bonus to perception.
Alright. And just start rolling?
Yep, you just make 4 little rolls.
The first. The second.
1 failure. Ooh, 2 failures.
Oh no. And the last.
Alrighty. So you go around the house trying your best to make out where potential entrances could be, and you find 2 obvious and 1 not so obvious. The first 2 obvious is, well, just walking in through the front door, but you do not know if that's going to be open or unlocked at night. And the second is the gala entrance, which, as previously stated with the front door, you don't know if that's going to be open or even unlocked at night. However, on the back of the building, there is a large window, almost the entire side of the mansion itself, that seems to be a full floor open window, to which you know for a fact that these windows have massive security issues when it comes to lockpicking, and the only reason why it has any form of lockpicking resistance is because it is 3.5 stories off the ground.
I'll go back to the group and relay the information that I found. You got the front door, we got the gala entrance, and we got a massive window 3 stories off the ground in the back. Probably the easiest to get into if we can get up there. Might be difficult to get up there.
Is getting 5 people and a cat up that high, though.
Well, to be fair, you really only need to get 1.
Yeah.
True.
Still going to be a little difficult though.
Any one of you good for climbing?
Not particularly.
It was the physical was never much of a
If you can
concern
climb.
for me.
Missy can climb?
Hissy, my cat.
Hissy?
Yes, but I think Hissy can pick locks, right? Or break into stuff.
Well, Hissy is a large creature. Well, medium. So Hissy can carry a small creature.
Like me.
Turns to the mouse.
As the fox just jumps onto Locke's head. Or Fox.
Well, you'd be more or less the same size as Locke, because you're both small creatures.
Yes.
Yeah, but small creatures can technically share each other's square, so.
Correct.
I mean, I suppose, like, could ride the cat to the window.
The only question then is, can you pick the lock?
Oh, that I have no worries about.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, then get on.
I mean, not right now,
Oh,
maybe.
not right now. That window was 3 stories off the ground. I don't know who's in there right now.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
And risk being seen in broad daylight? We were told not to be seen at all.
Then are we just gonna sit here like wallflowers until night?
I can be
Well,
not
maybe not
me for
here,
10
maybe
minutes.
not tavern, but yes.
Yeah. So are we adding anything
Yeah.
to the plan?
Locke is going to drink his potion of disguised self, becoming
Okay.
a dwarf,
Mm-hmm.
and then just say, well, this way I won't be seen, so we can try it. At least then we'll know that it can be opened or not easy enough, or if we can even get up there.
The problem I would see is if we try it now, they will be alerted to this weakness. So even if we
Extra
succeed,
alert.
Only if we're seen doing it.
so you want to do a test run and risk being seen in broad daylight?
That's not a good idea.
I mean, if you guys don't think it's a good idea, I'm just a dwarf for the next 10 minutes, that's fine.
I mean, if you're a dwarf, you can probably attempt to enter through the front door to see how they accommodate you.
That is true.
How long does your potion last?
10 minutes.
You need to be in and out in 10 minutes or have a second potion lined up. You think you can do that?
I only have the one for the day.
Well, you just drank it, so
only
you're
gave
kind of
myself-
on a timer right now.
9:35, 9:34, 9:33.
Yes, okay, so Locke will just head towards the front door.
Okay.
Alrighty, so Locke, you approach the front door and you see the 2 guards there. They are both clearly human, and they stare down at you. They don't say anything, but at the same time, they don't seem to be preventing you from doing anything.
I'm going to just walk, not acknowledging them, walk towards the door and just try to open the door.
The door's already open.
Oh, then I'm just going to start walking in.
As
See if I
you
get
attempt
stopped.
to approach the door, both of the guards cross their halberds across it, and the one on the right asks a very simple, albeit short question, which is, do you have an appointment?
Locke will just say, I didn't know I needed an appointment for the tavern? Is this not the tavern? Someone told me
ahead.
this was the tavern.
Go ahead, roll for bluff.
Okay. Just confirm the bonus. Yeah.
They
to a
respond in
23.
kind, going, no, sir, this is not the tavern. This is Duchess Polta's house.
Oh,
Do you have an appointment?
I do not. I apologize. Let me, could you point me towards the tavern?
They point you in the opposite direction of the house.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I will turn around and start to walk away.
With everyone watching, probably seething in rage. You eventually make your way back to the group.
Yeah, I will head back to the group and just say, that didn't work at all.
Well, did you at least catch a glimpse inside?
You're not gonna tell them as to why it didn't work?
I'm not going to admit that no one heard what I said, therefore I'm safe. The fact that I completely blundered it doesn't matter. The fact that he panicked in the moment and asked if it was the tavern, not important, they don't know.
Yes, but could you please tell us what happened, why they sent you away, like, what happened?
They wanted me to have an appointment. I didn't have an appointment, therefore I got turned away.
Why didn't you just lie about it?
Because I don't know who does have appointments, so I couldn't pretend to be somebody that had an appointment without knowing who there was to have an appointment.
And just make shit up, maybe they would have let you in.
Or they would have asked him for a letter.
See, exactly. I didn't have anything saying I had an appointment.
Oh boy, okay. Sure. Sure.
I guess we can head back for now and come up with a plan. A real plan.
I think that would be wise.
I guess so, yeah.
By the way, did you see any guards on the way back when you went around the house? I say turning to Harrison.
None were mentioned. Did I see any guards are stationed elsewhere around the house?
What was that?
Did I see any guards stationed on the other sides of the house?
You did not know.
No, they're only on the front.
You only
There may
saw
be more
guards on the
inside, though.
front. I answered your question.
Yeah.
Do you not remember your Nat 1 and Nat 2?
Yeah.
So that is 2 accounted for out of a dozen.
Out of a possible dozen.
I mean, one of you can attempt to approach the door again and not fumble the ball. Because in case you forgot, Locke is an investigator, so therefore Locke can give you a potion of disguise that will disguise you.
So the rules were that we had to have an appointment to be able to be there, period, yeah?
Correct.
So where
Do you know anything about the Duchess?
You do not know.
Other
I
than the
suppose-
fact that she has a fascination with collecting items?
Other than that, no. You don't even know what she looks like.
We could try to get an appointment, pretend like we have some rare, valuable something, maybe a special print of a coin. Get an appointment and to ask if she's interested in buying it or something of that nature. Use that appointment to scout out the house.
like how the simplest solutions always have players giving me really complex answers.
That's kind of how it is, honey.
As long as we do we have another disguise potion or something like that?
Do you?
That depends on which way Shameless wants to do this, since we are technically on a different day than when we got together. Obviously, we've had 2 weeks. So I could have 4 potions of disguise self, but the way I have my potions written down, I only have the 1 day at the moment.
I will reiterate how I handle spells in and out of combat. In combat, you only have access to the spells that you have written down on your sheet. Almost always, if there is going to be combat, I will ask for your sheet beforehand, which means that you are solidifying your spells. So that can be a tell on whether or not you're getting into combat that day, is if I'm asking for sheets. If it is out of combat, I do not check your spells. Now, I will trust that you don't go over your allotted spell amount for that day. Like, for example, if you only cast 4 times, I hope that you are keeping to that you're only casting 4 times. But whatever spells you want to use can be whatever spell you want to use, and you can just argue that you planned for it beforehand. However, you're an investigator, you can actually just make yours on the fly. No, really, that's like an actual class thing.
Oh,
if you read the
okay.
alchemy stuff, it takes you 3 minutes to prepare any spell that you want, even in the middle of combat, so yeah.
Then yes, I can have up to 3 more spares, 3 more potions of disguise self.
Wonderful.
So
Okay.
if somebody wants a potion of disguise self, I can start mixing another one.
Yeah, you can start mixing. I mean, I guess one of us could just approach in disguise, say, hey, I have an appointment, let me in. And maybe the guards just say, okay, here, go in, there's a reception area, but you just go somewhere else. Like, we don't know this stuff.
That's true. I will start mixing up a potion then.
Alright,
Is
so you
anyone-
mix a potion, and who are you giving it to?
I will just offer it to the group who wants to take it.
So who is it going to?
Not me.
I have a question for you, Locke. Can you, in fact, make 2? Just 1 more potion of disguise person? I think it would be useful if one person were to go in disguised as someone that could seem relatively important and be accompanied by somebody who might look like a bodyguard.
Yeah,
Or
I
like
can do
an
that. I just
escort.
need another few minutes and I can mix up another one.
Great.
Let's do that. I can do bodyguard.
That sounds good.
Okay, I will mix up a second potion.
Alright, then I will have to go in with you. I will focus on being a sufficient enough distraction and try and be as convincing as possible while you just look intimidating, probably quiet and intimidating, and then just observe as much as possible while we're in there.
Quiet, intimidating, observing. I can do that.
Upon the completion of the second potion, I will hand them out.
Alright, so who are the 2 approaching the guards?
I
Leiku and
believe
Doris,
it's-
I believe.
Yes.
Alright. So you both drink your potions, transforming into what?
I'm going to transform, let's just go like almost like total opposite of what I am. Almost total opposite, like long black hair elf.
I'll just go with a human blonde, short hair, and basically the same armor I have.
Alrighty, so you both approach, looking nothing like yourself, and the guards simply stare at you, saying nothing. God, it's like I'm back teaching math class again. Say something.
Okay.
Fucking hell, come on.
I'm sorry, you're like, they look at us and they say nothing. I was about to say, okay, we walk in. Like, they don't try and stop us or anything?
You attempt to walk in, and much like before with Locke, they cross their halberds and prevent you from entering, saying, "Do you have an appointment?"
Leiku will huff a little bit and she'll straighten herself up and she says, yes, I do, and it's quite important.
They then, well, one of them will hold out a hand, to which the other will ask for the papers to prove that you have an appointment.
Okay, well... Leiku will chuckle, like almost to herself, very lightly. Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry, but this appointment is very dire. It is in regards to a very important artifact found in Ethel. And we have it here just for the day. We can't keep it here for long due to how important it is, for fear of it being stolen. So if you would kindly please let us through, so that we may talk to the lady of the house to discuss the possibility of acquiring this important artifact. Otherwise, I could just tell her that her guards just didn't let us through, so we would have to take it back to Ethel.
Go ahead and roll for bluff,
Okay.
and hope for an out one.
I don't want... Shut the fuck up! You hope for not one, bitch. Okay, well, it's not too good.
Jesus Christ.
It's not too good.
Do you have anything to add to us?
I will just like cross my arms and stare at the guards.
That's it, you're not going to add anything, you're going to try and intimidate them.
Yes.
You're going to intimidate city guards.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Shit. I thought they were like private guards.
Oh, back me up here. Leiku's using her antenna. Wait, hold on. I do have a spell for this. Yeah, she can use a message. That's a 0th level spell for her.
Okay.
She will tell Doraz, back me up here. This is an important item. We don't want her to miss out on this, do we?
Yes, oh shit. Yes, as my lady said, it's a pretty important item. Like, you don't get stuff like this as a guard and fellow fighter. You know how strong such items can be. Like, I think the lady of the house would be pretty disappointed if you let this chance for her slip by.
Yes, very. In fact, I actually do remember her saying that should she be able to acquire this item, it would be the star of her next gala, but that would be a shame if it weren't there as a main centerpiece.
Alright, did us
She is-
go ahead and roll for bluff.
She's saying all of this with a pleasant smile, and on the inside, Leiku's dying. She's dying. She stake through the heart, dying inside.
Okay, so bluff is charisma, right? Because I don't
It's
have
based
that on
off
my
of
sheet.
charisma, yes.
Please,
Okay.
please, please. That's a little bit better. God, can I roll above a 10, please? Okay, you get the 10. All right, got it.
The guards look at the
Great.
both of you and acquiesce their position. And one of the guards says, next time make sure you have it in writing, otherwise we will not let you in. And the both of you walk into the house easily.
Okay.
As you enter, you see how the house is designed, and the foyer is incredibly open. As a matter of fact, there's really not much here other than the fact that it's a floor. There are pillars and staircases that lead up to the second floor that then snake into different hallways and different doors, but it does seem like the first floor is almost entirely and primarily made for guests. As a matter of fact, you can even argue that this first floor that you're on, this foyer, is entirely for dances or exhibitions of some kind. You can even see clearly at the end of the hallway where this large arch is located, it leads to some kind of dining area. And while you are standing here in the entrance of the house, you can see that there are 4 more guards, 2 on each side of the room, one standing in front of the staircase and the other underneath one of the walkways.
Okay. All right. Well, we clearly need to explore this area a little bit more to find out where all the special items probably start making our way around, act natural, like we're meant to be here.
Yes.
Okay, and there's stairs. There's stairs going up. Are there any stairs going down? God?
Could you repeat that, please?
There are stairs going up. Are there any stairs going down?
No.
Okay, so it's just... Okay, so this is the first floor, as far as we can tell. Okay, alright. I guess we have to try and walk up the stairs to explore more of the area.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. I will keep an eye out if I see anything interesting.
Yeah, let's try and keep out of the walking pathway of the guards.
Alright, so as you continue walking past the guards, I presume you're just going straight ahead into the dining room, or are you going somewhere else?
No, we're trying to go up the stairs
Oh, okay. So
to
you're
explore
going...
more of the area.
Alright, go ahead, roll for perception, the both of you.
Okay. Perception. Yep, this is why I'm not the one that's observing. I'm supposed to be the distraction.
Uh-huh.
That's better.
Thank God.
Alright, so as you continue walking around Lakeview, you can't quite figure out where anything is or what anything is, but Daras, you more or less start to figure out the layout of the house, where the second floors are, again, mostly for guests. There are multiple places where there are bathrooms, guest rooms, and whatnot, and eventually, at the end of one of the hallways that you're walking through, you find Duchess Polta's office, which is again guarded by 2 other guards. And when they notice the both of you, you can tell by the way that they position themselves and how they're looking in your general direction that you are, quote-unquote, expected. You did say that you have an appointment after all.
Okay, I will just lean down to Leiku like a bodyguard does and just whisper to her, this should be the office I had 2 guards. I think they're expecting us.
Okay. Well, shit. It would kind of suck if we didn't go to the place where we are expected to go, so we should go there.
Can I think, off the top of my head, of any like legendary artifact or something that belonged to Nahir that currently unknown or people don't know where it is?
So you're both going to go in?
Yeah, we kind of have to
Yes,
since those guards are looking at us, expecting us to go in.
Alrighty. So you go
If we
and
didn't,
you
it would
enter the Duchess's office, and there you see Polta herself, a half-elf that seems to be in charge of the Dragonport area. She doesn't seem to be doing anything all that important, but there is some mild parallel, because when you enter her office, it does seem that she is doing some mild paperwork. When she looks up, she seems a bit confused, and she goes, "Pardon my rudeness, but I don't know who you are or why you're here."
suppose Lake will be the first one to speak and go, "Pardon me, Lady Polta. I am Zenea, and I hail from Ithel. I believe that we were conversing about a very special artifact that has been recently found in those lands."
I have, and I do, yes.
I'm here to discuss the possibility of acquisition of said item, and considering this is a very important item, I would like to talk to you more about how you wish to house it, as well as take a look at the conditions to ensure that this artifact is well preserved. If possible, of course.
She looks you up and down and she says, "Which item, perchance, are you attempting to obtain?"
She's asking me what item I want?
Yes. Because isn't that what you said you wanted to see here? Or did I mishear it?
You misheard, probably. I said that there is a special artifact that I'm sure that Lady Polta would want to acquire.
Oh,
from
sorry,
Ethel.
I heard it backwards,
That's
my
okay.
bad.
That's okay.
She
No
will
worries.
look at you up and down, a bit perplexed, and she'll ask what kind of item that it is.
Well, as you are aware, in Ethel, there is a festival held each year in which the people of Ethel will gather and make clothes and do a small fashion showcase of the clothing that has been made each year. This year, in fact, the winning kimono was made with a beautiful silk that seems to be iridescent in the light. A silk that has been found inside of a very long-lost dungeon. It shines like gems, but feels as smooth as silk.
And she'll ask if you have it on you.
Oh, of course not. This item cannot be brought out in broad daylight, and because of the unique makeship of this item, it will have to be brought in a very large package, and so it would take a couple of guards with me to be able to move this kimono from one place to another. However, I would like to take a look at the conditions in which you set up all of your rare artifacts, which I'm sure are very well preserved, but because of the nature of this kimono, I need to see if it is suitable to ensure the quality remains intact for many years to come.
Go ahead and roll for bluff, because she
Got
seems concerned that you do not have the item.
Yeah, I figured. That's okay. Why?
Haha.
God, why?
She looks in your general direction and she's more than confused. And she goes, "Well, why should I give you a tour of my facilities if you don't have the item to begin with?" I can't bring you into any proper room as to where it could be housed, because if you say that it can't be brought in daylight, then that limits where I can take you. Even its size can limit where I take you.
What my lady is trying to say is that, though a good guard, I probably wouldn't be enough to guard a dress of such importance and value. So we would need to come with a larger group. So we don't have it with us right now. And it's a very important item as it won the last fashion contest. So we would really just like to see if it's stored in a safe place. I mean, I've saw a couple guards, but so far I can't be sure that someone wouldn't be able to steal the dress. So we would like to just see if it is properly secured here. If it
And
can be
she'll-
properly secured here.
She'll repeat herself, which is the fact that she can't see the item right now, so she wouldn't be able to know where she could house it, simply due to the fact that she doesn't know the dimensions.
Leiku just said that she was just gonna change her form. She's wearing her kimono right now, right? Yeah, she wouldn't have any extra clothes with her. Okay. How are we
Both
standing?
does do clothing as well.
Wait, what?
The disguise self potion allows you to change clothing as well if you wish.
Yeah, but it's still not the clothing in question that's being discussed.
Oh no, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm referring to. I'm sure it's Sylvia. It's okay. I'm gonna try and make Leiku very, very convincing. Where would you say that we are right now compared to Lady Polta?
Probably
She's at the
across
desk
her
doing
desk.
paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess Leiku will lean in and smile, sweetie. I'm a curator specifically from Ethel. Being able to see where you house your beautiful collection will be able to help me establish a possibility of a long-term relationship where I get to make sure that the items from Ethel are properly and securely displayed. If you need dimensions for the kimono, that's relatively easy. I'm wearing one right now, you can take mine.
Go ahead and roll for bluff.
Please. Please. I swear to God, I have not roleplayed this hard in forever. God, give me something.
The Duchess stares at you for a moment, thinking, to which she will slowly stand up, and she will state, well, clearly it's not the kimono that you're wearing, so it's not like I'd be able to understand the dimensions. I don't know if it's someone made for your stature, or for your guard, I think is what she said, your guard's stature. And just knowing those dimensions is more than enough for me to be able to dictate where it could be. But since you are so insistent on trying to at least see if I can even house such an artifact, I will gladly show you the 3 possible locations as to where I could potentially hide it. 3 locations that are away from the sun, as you dictated that it cannot be out in the light. And she gets up and starts to walk you through the mansion. And in the first room, you find... actually, no, you can just go ahead and roll for perception. Both of you.
Okay.
Yes.
Leiku sending a message. Okay, please, let's look for the loot.
Yes. I will do my best. Never mind. Fucking hell.
Okay, perfect, got it.
Alright, so Leiku, you're a bit too busy staring at Polta's ass. And...
Is it a good one at least?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
It may not be the largest, but it is very firm and perky like her tits.
Thank you.
Regardless, As you enter the second room, Duras, you can see that this is basically just one large closet. It's even lightly temperature controlled, a little bit colder than the rest of the house. And the way that everything is set up is that each and every single outfit has at least 1 foot of breathing space in comparison to the rest of the outfits. Now, granted, it is still a little hard to see the grand majority of these outfits, as the way that they are stored is still sideways, so you're still only looking at these outfits from the side. Though there are some outfits that are either in a glass case or hanging a little bit above your heads that are more front-facing so that you can see what they are. The Duchess will then turn to Leiku and motion for her to slowly walk through and examine the room. And Leiku, as you do, you cough, cough, in big quotes, find that it is not suitable. To which I presume you would convey that information, right?
Yes.
As you do, the Duchess nods along and expresses a bit of discomfort, and she asks, why?
The quality of the air in the room has to be relatively specific. And the amount of clothes in here, it does make it a little bit difficult, especially since varying cloth can react different ways on the environment, and especially considering the silk. In fact, most of the people in Ethel are still trying to figure out what this silk is made out of so they could possibly recreate it. It is magical in nature, and having a slightly more open space for this kimono would probably be more apt.
Go ahead and roll for bluff.
Why do I do this to myself? I'm a liar. I'm going to hell.
Just stop lying.
I can't. I can't.
Just
We
say
started
a
it.
more believable truth. Like, just...
This is believable. What? I'm sorry. You don't think that's possible? What about the mold in the closet, honey?
I said say a more believable truth. That's it. Not this outlandish lie that you keep spouting. Regardless, roll. Roll.
Don't have a choice.
Good job. She
Yay.
nods along and goes, interesting, a bit verbose, but I can understand your discomfort and displeasure with something like this. If the cloth is made in the way that you say it is, then maybe this other room will suffice. To which she will take you to yet another room, so go ahead and both of you roll for perception.
Oh God, please. I'm Crage.
Oh God.
Alrighty, so you go into the next room, and you see that all of the lights are off. She then conjures a magic spell, speaking to herself lightly, and you see that the room starts to glow. It slowly fades in just enough light to be able to see everything, but it kind of feels like it's still nighttime in this room. The way that the lights light up and sparkle about the room kind of feels like you're walking through space itself. As you're walking through this particular room, you can see that a lot of the enclosures are empty, but the ones that are there are extremely powerful magical artifacts. Some of which, Leiku, you even recognize as being items that were considered once lost in the Civil War that recently passed.
Huh. Do I recognize any of them?
I literally just said that you did.
I mean, like, personally.
No, because you weren't really in that particular part of the war to recognize them personally. Though
Okay.
you do recognize that some of them are weapons that were apparently lost to the war itself.
Okay, alright, I see.
And then I presume it's the same thing once again, where she asks if this would be suitable.
Well, actually, I think what Leiku would say is that it is suitable. However, seeing the last room would be able to determine whether this room would be perfect for it or if the other room is better.
Remember, she said she had 3 rooms to show you.
Yeah, and this is the second one.
Okay. So can you rephrase what you're saying that doesn't make it seem like you're talking about the first room?
Okay. This second room feels perfect for the kimono. However, it would be best to see the third room to determine whether the second versus the third would be better.
Go ahead and roll for diplomacy.
Okay. Just to make sure that number, yep, okay. Are you fucking kidding me?
Reroll for plot purposes.
Why? Why is this happening?
Are you done whinging about the bot? Because it's going to do this the more you whinge.
I didn't start until like 7 rolls in, but sure.
The bot knows. The bot is sentient.
That's great. I'm so glad it knows after 7 attempts.
She stares at you for a moment and she goes, okay, I don't normally bring people here, but the last place that I will show you is my personal collection. And she will bring you out of this room and actually up to the 3rd floor. And there, in a rather large room nearby that massive open window that Harrison described before, she brings you once again inside. This room lights up slightly different from the last one. As she starts casting her magic and lighting up the room, you can see that this is filled with a lot of different artifacts. Most of it pertains to the arts in some way, shape, or form. Paintings, pictures, frames, so on and so forth. But the way that everything lights up is that each and every single container itself has its own built-in lighting source. And she starts to describe as the reason why she keeps everything here in her personal belonging, as everything here is effectively sterilized in the way that it is. However, she does showcase her concerns that this might be a bit too bright, because she does use the daylight spell as a base in order to light up the room in this manner. Both of you can go ahead and roll for perception.
Okay, perception. There we
Okay,
go.
okay.
Alrighty. You can see that the loot in question is in this room. As a matter of fact, it is all the way in the back of the room on the left.
Okay.
Beside it is an empty case. Any responses? Anything?
I'm trying to formulate words. Leiku will turn to the lady of the house and go, "You might be right about those concerns. Maybe the second room might be better for this kimono. If you could be so kind as to possibly have somebody guard and clean up the second room, and I guess I'll start preparing for the transfer of that beautiful dress."
And to which she'll light up a bit and go, "Oh, are you just donating it to me?"
I am unfortunately not in charge of the accounting in regards to this dress. I will, however, put in a good word about the condition of the room, should it be nice and tidy and properly guarded. And we'll continue conversations from there. Does that sound good to you?
Go ahead and roll for bluff.
Okay.
She nods along and says, Well, whoever this patron is incredibly kind. I will station a couple of guards by that door so that you may be prepared for the item that you deliver. Do you know when you would be delivering it?
I will write to you in regards to that, as the dress, as I said, is still being inspected due to the uniqueness of the thread. Once they are done with that, we will start discussing about transfer. I would say nothing more than about 3 weeks to a month.
Mm-hmm. She nods along. Well, thank you very much for your patronage. I will continue to close down shop up here. You are free to leave whenever you wish. And she will walk back into that third room and start shutting down all of the magical lights that she has been setting up. Are you two going to try and take advantage of this?
I think I'm gonna look at Lego and just like nod towards the exit.
No, we're not going to take advantage of this. We're just going to go. We're just going to go.
You're just gonna leave.
Yep.
All right.
Yep,
Then
we're
we're
just
gonna
going to leave. I've already set the perfect environment for it.
You didn't, but okay.
I did though,
How so?
because I told her to send guards to make sure that the second room is guarded, not the third.
At the time of delivery, 3 weeks to a month from now.
That's not what I said.
She said she would at the time of delivery. Regardless, the both of you leave through the front door rather calmly and make your way back to the regular group. Now what?
Did you find the loot?
Oh god, that was stressful. Holy hell. Okay. Whew.
Yes, we did. Sorry, hold on. I'm
Yes.
seeing ants on my roof.
What?
There are ants on my roof.
Why?
I don't know, but they're dead. Okay.
No,
I'm sitting back in my chair now.
infestation is very serious, dear. I thought we got rid of them already.
I'm pretty sure we did. I just saw like 3 ants up there, but that's okay. They're dead. I don't know where they came from though.
Are there any around the dog food?
Nope. No, there aren't. They were just on the roof of my room.
Fun.
And there are no holes.
Okay.
So continue.
So you have conveyed this information to the rest of the group, that you know where the instrument is and its relative location. Now what?
Coincidentally, next to the window that we were trying to break in, or at least we're planning to break in.
Mm-hmm. Now what?
Well, was there a window directly into the room with the loot?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, then. I guess we wait for nighttime to do the stuff to get
Wait for
in.
nighttime. And does anybody else in our party have like a spell like for detect magic?
I have detect magic, yes.
Okay. All right. Because that room definitely has some magical properties. It wouldn't be surprising if, you know, there was some sort of alarm system in place.
Maybe we should do it tomorrow night instead of today night, so that Locke here can recover fully before our second attempt. Maybe he will need those tricks up his sleeve, all of them.
Tricks are always good to have.
Well, what is the generalized plan as to how you're going to steal this instrument?
Going to break in the cover of night through that window.
Specific
Epic
details.
quest.
How are you gonna get up to the window? Who's going up to the window? What are you gonna do to get into that room, potentially, and how are you gonna steal the item?
Okay, I think I'm the only one of us that can actually pick the lock,
Probably.
or at the very least, somebody else would have to borrow my thieves' tools.
The only way
Yeah.
that they can use
Yes.
them is that they have ranks and disable device.
Yeah, I just mean that I'm the only one that has picked it up, so if anyone else was capable, they could use mine.
Does
I
anybody have it?
think you're the only
No.
one who is.
I would be too, but
Oh.
not
You
a great
also have-
climber.
You also have disable device?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we got 2 people with disable device to at least get into the room. So working backwards, how are you getting up to the window?
When I transform, does everything that is on my person just mold into my
Yeah.
transformed state? Okay.
Yeah, all of your stuff stays with you.
We could use that to our advantage.
Well, I remember Leiku suggesting that Hissy be the one to climb the side of the building with Locke on his back.
Yes. And Harrison could go up, could also ride along while he's a fox.
Unfortunately,
If there's
you would
enough
not be
room.
able to. Hissy can only carry
No.
one thing. A single
I mean, we could
small
always have him
creature.
take multiple trips.
Do you want to risk that, though?
I think the less people up there, the less noise potentially.
Yes.
That is true.
So it's probably best if we Hissy, I think was the name of the cat. Sorry, yes.
Yes.
So if Hissy gets locked up there, he breaks in, takes the loot, and then gets out while we're being invisible.
Yes, I guess we'll just pool all the invisibility potions on Locke in that case, so he can make use of them as liberally as possible.
Yeah, sound good?
Alright,
Yep,
so to
we can do
review,
that.
the plan is to give Locke all of the invisibility potions that you got, just in case. Have him hitch a ride on Hissy's back. Have Hissy climb the side of the building so that Locke can sneak in through that large window. So that Locke can then sneak into the room that has the artifact that you're trying to take, and then take the artifact effectively by any means necessary. Yes?
Pretty much.
Yep.
Sounds about right.
Be on
Alright.
guard for traps or other kinds of devices.
Alrighty. In which case, all of you would then wait until the cover of night, to which all of you, including Hissy, will be making a stealth check to make your way towards the back of the house without being seen. Every single person here will get a plus 10 circumstantial bonus. No, not 10, plus 8 circumstantial bonus. 1, because I would presume you would do so under the cover of the foliage that surrounds the mansion. And 2, for doing stealth at night, because that's just a bonus that you get. So everyone here roll for stealth. You get a plus 8 bonus on it. If you don't have stealth on your sheet, it is based off of dexterity.
I'm also going to cast Forced Quiet on Hissy, because, you know, he's a large creature.
Because he takes a -4 due to it. Did Kate not go
Yeah.
with them? No, she's just the handler. She's just making sure that the mission gets done.
Should
Yes,
we cause a tiny little forest fire as a distraction, or would that be too much?
No!
Too much.
Why?
Way too
No,
much.
we are waiting in the forest. We don't want to be waiting in the fire.
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
just to confirm beforehand, are we doing this the same night, or are we waiting a day and doing it the night after?
Waiting
I
a day,
presume
I would
the
say.
night after, so that you don't rouse
Night after.
suspicions.
That's alright, it's purely so I know what I'm doing spell-wise. Right.
I presume that 15 is for Hissy,
No, that's actually for me.
and I said that you get a +8 bonus.
And
So how
I
is
can-
your bonus less than
Oh,
the
right.
actual bonus that you get?
Okay, my bad. Hold on. Bonus
10.
means.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Alright.
Yep.
There's the good rolls.
Okay. Myself with a +8.
Okay, so I don't have that, so therefore it has to be +8. Okay. So that means it is actually this. This is for Leiku.
Okay.
And then for Hissy, which is this, that, and then +8, which is a 7. Doesn't actually change.
Okay. So you all successfully managed to sneak your way through, except for Leiku. However, due to that lovely nat 20 from Daras, you would just pick up Leiku once you realize that she is not being stealthy, despite the fact that she should have the bonuses to do so.
Don't even have the skill. I'm a
Skill issue.
sorcerer. Yeah.
Regardless, you have now camped yourself in the back end building. Your plan now begins. Locke, I presume you are going to be drinking an invisibility potion, and Hissy is also going to be drinking an invisibility potion.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yep.
So before we move out, I will just give Locke guidance.
Which
that
gives
he
a
can-
+1 on the next d20 check. Are you also going to be casting it on Hissy?
Oh right, this is then yes,
Okay.
isn't okay.
So
yeah,
how
yeah.
guidance works, I will repeat it again. The next 1d20 check that a creature with guidance makes, they get a +1 bonus. So now we are going to do it in this fashion. Hissy is going to roll for climb. Hissy
Okay.
gets a +1 bonus for climb. Locke also needs to roll for climb. Not to actively climb, but to hang on to Hissy while Hissy tries to, well, climb the side of the building, to which again you get that +1 bonus on.
Okay.
Alrighty, perfect.
Oh, thank God for that.
Now, because Hissy is the one moving, Hissy needs to do another stealth check. However,
Okay.
different bonuses now apply. So Hissy gets a +4 bonus for stealthing at night, but because Hissy is invisible, he gets a +20 bonus on top of that.
Jesus. Okay. All right. So that number is now turned into.
And did
4 +
anyone
20.
notice that I timed the changeover?
Are you? You've got to be shitting me right now.
Reroll for plot purposes. Stop pissing off the bot.
I didn't do anything.
I pray to the bot. Stop pissing it off.
I didn't do anything.
Stop being mean to the bot. That's why it keeps
I
giving you
didn't
nat
do
ones.
anything.
Again, the bot is alive.
Again, I don't care. Continue.
See,
Oh,
now you're
God.
just gonna anger the bot even more.
Pissing. I'm just angry at you. Just continue.
So now you are up at the window, and what that means is you get to test to see if the window is unlocked. However, no one unlocked the window for you previously, so therefore, lock, you need to try and pick the lock.
Which is a disable device check, yeah?
Mm-hmm. To which, remember, due to your lock pick thing that you've got,
It's a +2 circumstantial, yeah?
yep, you get a +2 bonus on top of it.
Okay. So that means disable device. Okay.
Really, you only have a +5 in disable device.
Yeah. Right now,
Well,
it isn't a class skill, so.
what do you mean right now it isn't a class skill?
As in, I haven't put any points into it.
That's not what class skill means.
Alright,
Skill means that
that's
you
why.
have access to it. That's
It's just that certain ones you've written class skill next to.
Yes, because you put
They all seem to be
one
ones I'm trained
point
in.
into the rank section, the skill points, which then gives you a +3 bonus, due to it being a class skill. Class skill literally
Right, okay.
means that you have access to it. Regardless, you have picked the window, and the window slides off. You then crawl your way inside, and I presume Hissy will then make his way down the building.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to make another climb check for Hissy.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, Locke, you will then make your way over to the nearby door that was indicated that has the item, to which you need to roll yet another disable device check. Alright, another success. You open the door, and the room is pitch black. Do you have dark vision?
I think so. Let me just double check.
It would be listed down in section 4.
Section 4. Yes, dark vision.
Alrighty, so you can see perfectly fine inside the room, and at the back end of the room on the left-hand side, you see the item in question. What are you going to do?
I'm going to carefully make my way across the room, sticking more to the edges. In fact, before I go through the door, I'm going to drink a potion of Antol, which triples my carry weight
Carrying capacity.
for carrying capacity. Tripled it for 2 hours. Otherwise, I would not be able to carry this thing. And then I will make my way across the room,
Alright,
sticking to the edges,
go ahead, roll for stealth.
and as carefully as possible.
And thank you very
I
much,
receive
Tamora,
a
for the follow. It is greatly
20
appreciated.
for the invisibility, or is that 1 minute past already?
No, you still have the invisibility bonus, so it's a +20 to the roll.
Okay.
Enjoying it, to be honest? I'm glad you're enjoying it. Locke, you immediately take a step into the room, and I will shift perspective for everyone that's outside, as suddenly every single light in the mansion turns on, and alarms start to blare all throughout the mansion itself.
Oh no.
Fuck.
Shit. I told them it was magical.
Locke, startled by the sudden noise and everything else, you jump, smashing yourself into the nearest exhibit, knocking it over and shattering the glass onto the floor, knocking out the item that was inside of it, which happened to be a model ship, which also breaks and shatters into pieces onto the floor.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oops.
You can hear the sounds of footsteps coming up the stairs.
You're still invisible, right?
Yeah. The question is, do I just stand still and hope for the best? Or do I just try and make a break for it?
Well, you have exactly 10 seconds to make a choice. 9, 8,
I'm going to
7.
head towards the
6.
loot whilst drinking another potion, a potion of... what was it called? Of Expeditious Retreat.
And what does that do?
It gives me...
Actually, I can just
I
pull it
have
up
it
here.
open.
Expeditious.
It gives
Are you
me
sure it's in...
a increase of 30 feet for a minute.
Alrighty. Well, you said that you're going to dash your way across the room to where the item itself is located?
Yes.
Alright. And what are you going to do to try and get it out of its case?
I suppose at this point, quiet isn't gonna do me any good. I've already broken one thing. So I suppose I'll just try to use the butt end of one of my pistols to smash open the case.
Go ahead, roll for strength.
Oh god, this is not gonna go well. Oh, the roll was good, so...
Alright, you pull out a pistol, flip it around, and smash the butt end of it into the glass. The glass immediately shatters, and the loot itself flops down into the stand that it was in. As you pick it up and add it to your inventory, you hear the sounds of footsteps come up to the room. To those of you outside, you see as the guards start to surround the mansion itself and begin to examine the area to try and find what may or may not be going on. So, everyone here needs to roll for stealth once again. And again, because you're in the bushes and at night, you get a +10 bonus to stealth. This applies to everyone that is not Locke.
Okay. Oh god.
And remember that Hissy will still have the +20 from invisibility.
Right, Hissy would.
Why am I like this?
Why are you like this?
Okay, so if I remember correctly, that number should be...
Do you still need me to do another stealth check?
No.
No.
So, Locke, as you turn around, you see that there are 3 guards slowly entering the room. And as they're entering the room, examining around to see what's going on, they point out the shattered glass case that you're next to, as well as the one that's nearest to the door. While that's happening, the guards outside are trying to examine the area with their perception check, which they rolled a 15. And as they are looking around, they hear very distinct rustling, as well as some mild cursing coming from Reich in the bushes, to which they then start to sound out an alarm. Locke, you hear the guards shouting from outside and communication going back and forth, and the 3 guards that you were next to leave the room and start to run away. About 10 guards immediately gather up outside of the building on your side of where the bushes are and start to make their way towards Reich. Reich, what is going to be your response? Are you going to ready your weapon?
Okay, so 2 things. I have some lantern oil. We'll just like take a vial of lantern oil, set it on fire and just pour it on the ground and then just run away.
I'm sorry.
Why are
right
you
next
so
to
insistent on starting a forest fire?
Because it's very distracting.
Yeah, but you're right next to us. Are
Why?
you gonna do that? You're gonna dump this right next to us?
No, I'm just gonna throw it like in some opposite direction from the party, and then I'm just gonna like take off.
Okay.
Trying to be as loud as possible,
So
honestly, at this
as
point.
you said, what is it, a bottle of lamp oil is what you said you had?
Yeah.
So as you get your bottle of lamp oil ready, and you start pulling out the matches and everything else so that you can set it on fire and whatnot, all of you hear a distinct ringing out from down towards Dragonport. You all pause for a moment, completely confused, and every single guard stops at the edge of the forest. They seem just as confused as you are, and then the devices that they all have on their hips starts to blabber out. The language in question is in Elvish. Do any of you know Elvish? With the exception of
Harrison
Locke,
knows
because
Elvish.
you're not around.
Let me actually check because who's Lashunta?
Harrison knows Elvish.
Alrighty.
Actually, I have common extra language 1 and extra
Yes,
language
Leiku knows Elven.
That means you didn't add the languages when we went over them, Duras.
Probably yes.
Okay. So
But I
to
probably
remind
wouldn't have Elven.
So to remind you, based on your race, you start off with languages automatically. For you, it's probably Common and Tiefling. And then you gain extra languages at the start of the game equal to your intelligence modifier based on the pool available for your race. Which this would be listed down in section 4. So go ahead and look at section 4 and do that type of
Yes.
stuff.
For they start with common and abyssal infernal.
Alright, while you're doing that,
Yes.
Harrison, you're the only one that knows Elvish, so you
Excuse me.
Hmm?
I know Elven.
Okay, then the both of you get to roll for perception here.
Okay.
As the both of you listen in to these magical walkie-talkies that all of the guards have, you can hear the equivalent of all hands on deck, as it seems that the murder of an extremely high-profile individual happened in Dragonport. You don't entirely know what, but every single guard is now active and running around Dragonport. All of you are just barely saved from being investigated, as all of the guards nearby run off. And thank you very much, Rick Seger, for the follow. It is greatly appreciated. Locke, you find yourself in the room itself, and the house more or less becomes empty, though you do hear footsteps coming up the stairs not long after. I presume you're going to go ahead and roll for stealth to try and get to the window?
Yes.
Alright.
Well, at least it wasn't a nat one on the roll this time.
Alrighty. So you successfully make your way out of the room, and this is where you see Duchess Polta come up to see the damages herself, to which she wails a bit, but her wailing stops when she realizes that one of them is missing. To which she... Actually, I'll just let you go ahead and roll for perception here.
Okay.
POV never split the party. Sometimes it's necessary.
We kind of have to this time.
You can't quite make out what is going on, as she is effectively just mumbling to herself. Regardless, you are now next to the open window here. Are you just gonna toss yourself out the window? How are you getting down?
She's just come up the stairs.
She's currently in the room you were just in. She is mumbling to herself in the room that you just stole from.
Maybe the safer option is to just go down the stairs and out the front door.
Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Alright, roll for stealth.
Same again.
Thank God for invisibility.
Good
Otherwise,
lord.
you would have absolutely failed. Make sure that when you are rolling, you have a space after the d20, otherwise the bot will get confused. For everyone rolling, make sure you put a space after the d20. You want a space between the dice and the actual modifier. Okay?
Okay.
Otherwise, the bot will not like you very much.
Always just put a plus sign in between.
You need a space after the d20 before you add your modifier, otherwise the bot is
Okay.
not going to have a good time.
Okay.
Good to know.
Regardless, you make your way down the stairs as silently as possible, and you make your way outside to where you reconvene with the rest of your party, showing that you have the item. Though, along the way, you find that there are just no guards around the house whatsoever.
Where did all the guards go?
Great, then I don't need that. As I put
They
my
went into
lantern
town.
oil back into my backpack.
Yeah, that would have happened a while ago, when they left.
Well, it seems that a very important person in Dragonport has perished. So that could be why. You didn't kill anybody while you were up there, did you?
I don't think so. I mean, I broke a ship. Some glass.
Have
I don't think I
gone
killed
into the
anybody.
city, right?
Well, I mean, they sort of left the room. There was 3 of them in there. Then suddenly they all ran out, and I don't know what happened after that.
Yeah, same here. Well, apparently something is going on in the city because some person died. Doesn't matter, we got our ass saved. We don't tell Layla that we almost got caught. And we just go back to the Thieves Guild now?
Yes.
Yes.
And not to the Dragonport one.
Harrison will being a fox, ask Locke to give him the loot, and if you do, he'll transform back into a fox. The loot stays hidden.
I have no reason to not give it to you. I hand it over.
Alrighty. As you hand that over and you transform back into a fox, I would like everyone here to once again make a perception check. Thank you very much, Yak, for subscribing for 4 months. Greatly appreciated.
I
We have made
see
everyone here,
nothing.
like, what, 3 cents richer now, or however the fuck Twitch
Hooray!
does its nonsense.
Yeah.
Alright, so those are all successes. Okay. So as you hand over the item itself, I'll go off of Leiku's roll because she got the highest. All of you feel the bushes rustling beside you, to which Leiku, as you turn around, you watch as Kate slowly rises out of the shrubbery.
Oh. Hello, sweetie.
And then she strikes a pose and she goes, "You did it!" And then she strikes another pose, "Hooray!" And then she strikes a third pose, "Hiya!" And then she explodes into confetti.
Always the confetti.
I'm glad that there are no more guards around. That would have been... well, it doesn't matter.
Let's get
Harrison.
out of here before the mistress comes down.
Well, remember, in a
Yes.
fox, you can't speak. But,
Oh, right.
Harrison, soon after she explodes into confetti, you feel yourself being lifted off the ground as if someone is picking you up and wrapping their arm underneath your stomach.
Can I see who?
No.
Does it feel like a familiar arm?
How familiar would you be with this particular individual that this makes me mildly concerned?
Well, I would. If it's Kate, then familiarly familiar, because I would assume that they grew up together to some extent.
I don't know about you, but my siblings and I didn't touch each other all that much, outside of fisticuffs.
Roughhousing.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you can't turn into a fox.
Exactly.
That is true.
So what are you gonna do in response to being picked up?
I'm gonna squirm a little bit.
That's it.
I mean, there's not a whole lot else I can do since I can't see who picked me up.
I mean, you could just transform back.
Or
That
you
comes
could
with-
continue to pretend to being a fox and then just get food.
That, yeah. I'm going to continue pretending to be a fox and squirm a little bit because I don't know what picked me up.
Okay. To everyone else, you watch as Harrison slowly starts to levitate into the air, squirming around, making sad fox noises. Only for it to be revealed that Kate is now lifting Harrison above her head. And she goes, "I have the quarry," before she starts to run off.
I think we should follow her, like right now.
Congratulations. And I run after her.
Are you going to be doing anything else other than just running after her?
No, not really. I'll just try to keep pace with her. Not trying to catch her, just like stay relatively close so I don't lose sight of her.
Yeah, fair.
As she runs through the city, you can hear the hail of guards marching around, screaming and yelling, trying to find whatever it is that they're trying to find. And Kate, deftly, straight up avoids them, weaving in and out between alleyways, up and over obstacles, all while carrying Harrison. At one point, she throws him over a fence. Until eventually you make your way back into the Thieves Guild underneath Dragonport.
Once we are inside the guild, Harrison will transform. Do I end up squishing Kate?
You transform while she's still carrying you, and all of you hear the distinct squeak of surprise as once you transform into your larger self, you crush her under your weight.
And that's for throwing me over a fence as I get off of her.
When you get off of her, you just see the equivalent of a Tom and Jerry gag, where she is now pancake-sized.
All right, no more fooling around.
What
We
is
got the
group,
loot.
What is the group going to be doing now?
Well, we've completed our mission.
Officially end the quest.
Okay,
yep.
so you're just gonna vibe out for a little bit and just end the quest as is, huh?
Do we need to go back to home base to give
You
the
will
loot
have
to...
to deliver the item eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But is there anything that you want to do here in Dragonport? Is there anything that you're curious about?
Well, yes,
I
I'm
will
gonna
ask
ask.
Kate, who's dead.
Kate's not dead.
What?
She's just Pancake. Pancake,
No,
if
I
you
said
will.
I said ask Kate, who's dead, not
Oh.
ask Kate who's dead.
Oh, okay.
Very, very, very confusing sentence there.
Okay. As she springs herself back to life, rather literally, and stands upright, she says, oh, I mean, if you wait for a day, I can probably figure it out. Do you want me to?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Alrighty. She then walks over to the storage facility that you were at before, and she goes, well, for your payment here. And she starts to gather up small bags of gold. She walks around to each and every single one of you. And she says, for the job complete, since I'm pretty sure Mom's just gonna, like, pick it up and deliver it to whoever wants it or whatever, and not actually pay you herself. Here you go. To which each and every single one of you get 2,658 gold. $2,658. 2,658. That is how much gold that you have earned from this particular quest.
Nice.
Alright, so I then presume that you all just kind of vibe out for a day?
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So as you more or less just sit around in the Thieves Guild for a day, doing whatever it is that you do, Kate comes back to... Right, you were the one that asked the question, right?
Nope.
Yeah, I asked the question.
Oh, you asked the question, okay. So she goes to you then, to Locke, and effectively holds up some small notes as well as the print in that morning. And as you're reading through the newspaper detailing the obituary of a rather important individual, I would like you to go ahead and roll knowledge history.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, everyone here can roll knowledge history if they have it.
Let's see if I do. I do not.
I do not.
Nope.
Well, just one.
Ooh.
Oh,
Nice.
Nat 20.
Hell yeah.
Alrighty. You read through the newspaper and then you go through Kate's notes and you effectively convey the information that you just learned to the rest of your group. It doesn't particularly affect anyone here, but Leiku and Dadas do know the name as well as their position, because as you talk about this particular individual, both Leiku and Dadas talk about how the man in question was an extremely high-ranking naval officer during the Civil War. The both of you then ask Locke what the hell happened and if they were the one who died, and Locke, you answer succinctly that their head was crushed in by some kind of boulder. And the weirdest part about this particular murder is that no one can find the boulder.
Oh.
how big was the boulder?
Again, you don't know, because no one has found the boulder. But it was very
Locke
clearly
sounds far more
crushed
excited
with
about
some
the
kind
missing
of...
boulder.
Just very clearly crushed with some kind of massive blunt object. Presumably some kind of rock or a boulder, considering the amount of damage that was done.
Sin is going to look at Locke and say,
And say
Good
silence.
there's a
Because-
good
because-
chance that may have been Mom.
To which Lockie would be able to counter with the fact that it's not, simply due to the fact that if it was Mom, the ship that he was found on would most likely have been sunk and bullet holes would be found everywhere.
Oh, he was on a ship?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, big boulders, not really her style.
Big cannonballs, though.
I mean, yeah, but she's not gonna remove the cannonball afterwards.
That is true.
Who would want to kill a veteran of the Civil War?
Kate shrugs and goes, oh. I mean, you were all lucky with it, so smiles. She says, holding up a thumb, verbally saying the word smiles.
I mean, it might have been some cultist sect that wanted retribution or something.
Kate shrugs and goes, oh. I'd suggest that you go and investigate yourself, but they've quarantined the entire pier.
I mean, does no harm to go down and have a look at the pier from a distance, of course.
You want to ask some poor guard some uncomfortable questions?
Yes.
That's fine by me. We don't have to return immediately.
Kate shrugs and goes, it's probably best if you wait. They're still doing an investigation. Everything's been quarantined anyway.
Well, if they're investigating, it might take longer, and we should probably head back soonish to deliver the loot. So,
Yeah, probably good idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can we head back? Can people leave the city right now?
Yeah? Just not by boat.
Yeah, I
Fair
can't
enough.
imagine they'd shut down the whole city.
If the guy's important
Maybe.
enough.
Yeah, but that's more likely to have us have to go through some kind of inspection upon leaving. If anything.
Well,
It's
we have
kind of
a
too big of a place to fully shut down like that.
very convenient fox that can hide all our evidence. So
Eh.
I'm not afraid of an inspection.
Kate will verbally say
Then
the
we should-
words tee-hee. She then
We
points
should
to the
probably.
She then points to the end of the Thieves Guild and goes, you know you can just take the service tunnel out, right?
You know, I always
Avoid
forget
the gates altogether.
tunnels.
You're a rat. I thought you were supposed to like tunnels.
I prefer books and bookshelves.
Well, where else are you gonna find books and bookshelves if not in the tunnels?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you're not a rat, so of course your opinion is disregarded.
Well, if nobody of you has anything to do here, then we could just take off and make Layla a little less disappointed. How's that sound?
Hooray!
yeah, sure, why not?
Sounds good to me.
Great. I will go to my room and pick up my folding chair and my bedroll.
Alright. So, you all gather your items and you start to make your way back to Tarantus. When you arrive, you obviously make your way over to Layla's room. Thank you, Car. Going. Sounded like 56 in a 25 zone. Thank you very much.
Oh, fun.
As you enter her office, she once again looks up from her paperwork and she looks around and goes, good, you're all here. Item, please.
Harrison gives her the item.
She looks it over and then checks it against the picture that she's got there, to which all of you can go ahead and make one last perception check.
Hey!
Hey. Aw.
Ah.
Always on the perception, man.
Why did it not send yet?
Skill
That's
issue.
okay, I'll just do it again. It's fine. Listen. There you go.
It's probably because you were trying to send it when another person sent it, so it just got confused. The bot does
Yeah,
that
maybe.
sometimes. Alright, so everyone not named Locke, as she's inspecting the item to make sure that it is the same, matching the dimensions and the descriptions that are within the job description itself, you all notice that there is a name written on the back of, we'll call it the handle of whatever it is, and the name is written out as Bacon, like that. It seems to be hand drawn onto it in a light cursive font, but that's all you got.
Okay.
It's not etched into the wood.
It's not etched into the wood. It's part of the actual paint on the wood.
Ah.
Do we have any idea who or what that would be? Any idea? Does that name ring any bells?
Nope.
Nope. Point it out to Mom. Point it out to...
She will look at it and just go, okay, and then just put it back down and continue her inspection.
I guess there's nothing to be concerned about then.
As she picks up the item, she rings a bell for a courier. A courier walks in. She talks to the courier, and as she starts to box it up, wrap it up in a nice bow to present it to be a categorically normal item, she hands it off to the courier, and after she does so, she pulls out a manila folder and slides it across the table, and she says, "You now have a second job brought in while you were away. I was going to send it out to you tomorrow, but I didn't expect you to be back so quickly. You were going back to Dragonport."
Oh god,
Oh.
you're doing this as inefficient
that
as
was
possible.
fast.
No, why? We still saved the day.
It is one of
To be fair,
our
it was only gonna be sent
continual
out tomorrow.
clients. It is one of our continual clients, Zerna Ulvit. I do not know what she wants with you. However, at least one of you will need to go through the Mercenary Guild checks to become a base member of the guild. Otherwise, she will not talk to any of you, because that's where her base of operations are. So go ahead and talk that amongst yourselves, figure it out, and then get the fuck out of my office. Thank you.
Yeah, if it's getting into the mercenary guild, I think I can do that.
We both can. We've both been there.
I said discuss it amongst yourselves outside of my office. Goodbye.
You said and then get out of my office, but okay, bye.
Bye.
I'm turning around very quickly.
Who's grabbing the folder?
Nope,
Like,
not
who will
there. I've
grab
already
it?
turned around.
Alright.
Like, we'll grab it and
Laku's
go.
grabbing it, and then everyone else leaves. To which you then politely close the door. Laku, as you flip open the manila folder, you see pictures of Zerna herself, to which, if I recall correctly, you may have, met her in passing at some point.
Yeah, I have in my history of handling animals.
Yeah. To which Hissy will look up at you upon hearing the name, and you can see a very distinct look of jealousy on his face.
Oh, hush. You're my cat, okay? I'm not gonna get any more, I promise.
He
Scratches
then
between...
complains very loudly.
Be quiet. Scratches between the ears.
Alright. So, it seems that today's session will end, actually, an hour earlier than expected.
Wow. All right.
Ooh.
Give or take, I think, what... Technically a 4-hour stream, but an hour earlier than expected. Got it. Alrighty, so I would like to thank you all for being here. I'd like to thank you all for coming out. And in 2 weeks, when Group B goes again, they will be continuing their next mission, dealing with Zerna Alvit. So, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your afternoon, evening, and good night.
Yummy!
Bye bye.
Yay.
Goodbye.